Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another installment of open source software development on game development on No Place Like, the open source platformer, shooter, adventure, RPG, whatever. It's just becoming a thing. Who knows what it is. In this stream, we're going to be covering a little bit of, we're going to be refining the projectile system slightly, and then if we have time after that, we're going to move on to adding collision detection between the bullets and the bad guy. And perhaps collision detection between the bad guy and the good guy, and just a little bit more of a fight system, essentially, is the goal for tonight. So, without any further ado, let's get started and see how this goes. Righto. So, first things first, let's maybe why don't we should create some issues on the GitHub page for this, because I don't think we've had one for a while. So let's, or what I not had one for a while. I think we just we need some new issues. That's the issue. So over here, yeah, so we could tackle one of these, but I'd like to create a new issue for the projectile collision detection. Projectiles from our gun need to damage/destroy our jump bot. Assign that to myself, throw a label on here. This would be whoops, not that one. Be an enhancement, and put it under the MVP project, and submit new issue. Now that gives us a number 28, which we can create a branch for. So we'll head over to the game folder directory and go get status, just to check if there's anything outstanding, which there's not. We'll go get checkout-b for branch, new branch, and we'll call it Kirk-28- just projectile collision detection. And just like that, we've got a new branch, and we're good to start running. We're good to start going. Start up our dev server, and might as well do the testing on desktop this time around, since that's a little bit easier for everything. Just with streaming and all that, it's a little bit easier, and I think it looks a little more buttery on the stream for you guys. Maybe. I hope. Anyways, this is what we got so far. You can run, you can jump, you can shoot, kind of. We're gonna try and fix up the have the projectiles actually come out of the tip of the gun instead of sort of his shoulder awkwardly. But for now, this is fine, and we're just going to have it so that those little bubble bullet things that we're shooting actually do some damage to the robot that probably just jumped off the edge. Yeah, so again, we're going to do this kind of messy to begin with, and then clean up our code and optimize everything a little bit later on, because you never want to prematurely optimize things. That's just bad news bears. So we can get rid of those because that's just commented out stuff that we're not using anymore. And this is our MC Africa fight class. So this is our sprite, technically our sprite. It's actually extending the phaser container class, but that's just because we have multiple sprites and images and stuff within the one character. So it didn't make sense to extend the sprite class. It made more sense to extend container so we could put a bunch of stuff pieces in it. What we want is the Africa camp level, which somewhere in here we should have our code for our baddie, which we haven't really optimized yet. Right now it's just, we're just doing it all in the scene, but eventually we'll have it so that our bad guy will have its own class, just like our player, and just like even our guns, I think at some point are going to end up with their own class. We're going to be as object orientated and as modular as we can possibly be with this game, is one of the goals. I really need to make the contributing doc though, so that like all the goals are actually like written down somewhere, but anyways, I'll get around to that one of these days. So yeah, let's see. First things we want to do is, I guess we need to look into Phaser adding the collisions, because I've had a little bit of trouble with this in the past, where adding overlaps and stuff like that, it can be a bit of a pain. So I'm just going to look up Phaser 3 overlap, and that's saying between a tiled object layer, but we want between between overlap. Let's just see if we can code it without help for now. I'll see. So first things first, we need a reference to our projectiles, which live inside of our MC Africa fight at the moment. So bullet emitter is what we've called it. Bullets is this. And later on, we assign them to variables down here. Or just the bullet emitter, maybe. I think that's all we actually assign to a variable. We don't assign the bullets down here. Oh, no, we do. We assign bullets down here, too. Okay, cool. So let's see. We need a way to access this from the camp level outside of our sprite. So how are we going to do this, I wonder? What are we passing into? Oh, and we're actually all the character logic, or the character instantiation, is being done in the level.js class, the level class, which is the one that's actually extending scene, because we have a bunch of sort of like baseline functionality that's going to apply to every level that lives in here. Whereas the level classes themselves just have the custom functionality for that particular level, is the idea. So it makes creating levels much, much easier, because we can extend this level class as opposed to extending scene directly. But I just want to see where we're oh, here we are. Instantiating the MC class. And MC class is whichever one is being passed in. So it defaults to MC Africa, but in our case, we're passing in, MC Africa fight right here, which is our fight class, which is the version of him that's aiming his gun, has a gun, and is aiming his gun at the pointer instead of just running around with his arms doing whatever. So anyways, let's, in here, I guess we're gonna have to, I'm not sure what the best way to do this is to maybe have like a generalized projectile. You know what, before we get too deep into this, let's just look up projectile overlap or collision detection or whatever. Let's see, Phaser 3, or particle overlap is what we want. Yeah, collision between sprites and particles, that's exactly what we want. Apparently I've looked at this before. So, yeah, arcade physics can't work with particles. Okay, so we can't actually use the add collider function then, by the sound of that. So, we need to create a death zone for the particles by the sound of it, which is a little bit of an interesting way of doing it, but that's okay. We can do that. What I'm thinking we're probably going to have to do is have an array, or perhaps a container object, of bad guys that we pass into our level, like that we super into our, maybe not super, but we pass into this level class here. and then we can create like an overlap, or whatever we're calling it, a death zone, whatever, between the generalized particles of the gun and excuse me, the our general class for that contains all of our enemies, in theory, is how this is going to go down. So how should we start this? I guess the first thing is we want to have an array, or our array, or whatever we use, I guess just an array of the bad guys that we're passing in. So why don't we just pass in like a container of bad guys? That would probably be the easiest thing for us to interact with. So this here, where we've got our collider between our collider and our physics add and our set scale, all that stuff. I mean, I guess really if we were smart, it might make sense to refactor our enemy logic into its own class at this point too. I'm not sure. I just don't want to get hardcore technical on this stream with like all the abstraction and stuff like that, because I want to actually be able to get through setting up just the collision detection so we have something working on the demo. So I think for now we're going to keep it simple for creating the bad guys array or container or whatever. So we'll do something like this. We'll say it's similar to, I almost want to say we could put move all this logic before the init scene, but I think that might cause issues. So for now we'll just have we'll say const enemy, 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 and enemy. I think that's how you spell enemy. I don't know, I'm just derping. But enemy container equals this.add.container, and we're going to set it to the origin of the map, which is just 0, 0, or the world, whatever. And our array for now is just going to be this dot, or not even this dot, we'll just call it, or hold on, what did we call it in our existing logic? Yeah, okay, we had this dot baddie1, so we'll just say this dot baddie1 is what we're passing in. So with our enemy container defined, we can pass in a new key to our init scene function, and we'll call this like enemies. And, or actually, why don't we just call this container enemies, and then we can make use of one of the new ES6 features, which is this, oopsie daisies, enemies, that right there, enemies colon enemies, is the same as just typing enemies and then whatever else you have after that. So we can just leave enemies like that. As long as this is named enemies, the key will be the value. So, or the value will be the key, whatever, either way around. But we need to actually define enemies as something we're destructuring from our, like just as our argument basically, which in this case it'll be enemies equals, let's just say null for now. Maybe not null, I don't know. Why don't we actually just pass in an array, because then we can instantiate the container inside and just pass in that array. So we can just go like that, array, this.baddie1, yep, cool. Now that array will be being passed in, and we can go like this. So after creating our MC class, we can say this.enemy, and I really can't spell enemies equals this dot, let's see, this dot make tile map? Is that what I actually, weird. Anyways, I never actually noticed that there's a make property. I just noticed that now. I mean, I added it, so it must exist, and it's not erroring, so whatever. Anyways, not the point. We'll say, why don't we add the enemies after we add the map layers, actually? That would make a little more sense to me. And so down here, we'll say this dot enemies equals this dot this dot add dot container, or would it might be physics dot add container, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Pass it, set it to 0, 0, same as like the origin point of everything else, and we'll pass in our enemies array as the array of sprites going into said container. Sprites, or in the future it could be containers if we get more complex bad guys, which I certainly hope we do. Anyways, so that should be enough to just add the container of bad guys. So before we write any more code, why don't we just save this and see if it all works, or if there's errors, or what happens. So I am seeing something down here. Or I thought I did. Maybe I should move him a little closer so that we can actually tell what's going on. Because he does sort of just run around and do his own thing, and sometimes he falls off the edge of the map, so there's a chance that happened, but I get a feeling he didn't actually appear at all. So first of all, let's just say instead of 1000, we'll put it at 0, 0. So if it's anywhere, it should be like within, yeah, so it would be somewhere on the screen right there, wherever. It should have been really near him, because he's like Y0, X, only like 200 or something, so it would be within this screen. So point is, it's not working properly. Something isn't working. So let's see. This dot physics.add sprite is how we're creating that sprite variable. And we're adding a collider between him and the solid layer and setting a scale to 0.1, passing him into an array of enemies, and then passing that array into init scene. Then within the init scene function, yes, we have a default of no enemies, but this dot enemies equals this dot add container enemies. Let's just for now comment out that logic, and let's add it. Let's just see what happens if we go this dot add dot container 0, 0 and enemies. See if we do this in the just in the straight level class, if there's any difference. And save that. I'm seeing no difference. Does seem to be falling a lot, possibly slower than normal. Although that could just be because of all the, like, I've got OBS running and all this stuff, so that could be the reason why it's a bit slower, but anyways. But the point is, we're still not seeing our guy, so something isn't working here. Something isn't working, or he's being positioned way wacky. I don't know. Could also be the problem. Just make sure we are actually using that. Whoa, what am I doing? What am I doing? Okay. Minor editor freakout, no worries. This dot scene dot add, or config dot scene dot add container this. So that's adding itself as a container. But we're a little bit different here, because in this case we're extending container. But in this case we're extending level, which is extending scene. So effectively we're extending scene. But scene should be this in this case, is the point. So scene.add container. Let's just do something here. Well, console.log. I'm sure it would have been yelling at us if this function didn't exist or something, but just for the sake of sanity, let's just poke through the scene class and just see what we can find. So that scene.add, right? And right away we're seeing, interesting, scene.add.scene. That's funny. or display list or scene, whatever, I don't know, but maybe it's in a prototype function. That would make sense. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, so this dot add container should work, and I've got the arguments right. It is x, y, and then children, and I think children is just supposed to be an array of all the children. Yeah, it is because I'm using it a little further down. I'm using it right here. This dot add container. Right. Interesting. So something about baddie 1 isn't jiving so well. This is kind of problematic though, potentially, because I'm wondering if perhaps the problem is that we're adding the sprite and the container before we initialize the scene, and like in here in the scene, in our init scene function, are we doing anything to like enable the physics or whatever? Yeah, physics.add collider. That's just adding a collider. That's not really interesting. I don't know. Let's just try moving this underneath init scene and see if it makes any sort of difference. Because if it does, we might have to rethink the way we're doing this a little bit. This is what I mean. I didn't want it to get overly outrageous on the technical front. So that's still not working, which is weird for me. So like, what if we just comment this out entirely and just let it be there? Because it was working before when we were adding the sprite. Still no, huh? Oh, you know what? I just realized 0, 0 might be a little too far back. What are we... Let's take a look at... Where are we adding our MC? That's in level. X500. Okay, so let's say X500. So this should be like, he should be bang smack in the same place as our guy. Oh, and there he is. Cool. Okay, so yeah, you know what? We might have just had a positioning problem. That would be rad if that's all it was. Because he was probably out here somewhere and just falling straight down. Cool, this might all be a lot simpler than I thought. So let's try for the optimal case again, which is where we're creating our array of bad guys like so. Thanks for sticking with me, viewer. I normally I try and chat with you guys as much as I can, but I've been kind of in the zone tonight. So thanks for sticking around. I hope this is all interesting or relevant or helpful for you in some way or another, or just entertaining, if that's your thing. Anyways, so yeah, let's try for this. This is kind of the best case scenario. And look at that. We have a sprite. It is falling, okay. Oh, falls through the map, but that's okay. That just looks to be like a collider that's missing. So what we can do there is we can actually ditch this collider. Save that, because it's not working. And what I'm thinking we could do is where we're adding the collider for the character, add a collider between, hopefully we can do this, I don't know, but add a collider between the enemy's container and the solid layer. See if this does anything. I really hope this works. Okay, boom, no. Okay, fell through the level again, that's a drag. This dot solid layer, yeah, that's all. I mean, we could always just perhaps iterate through all of the children of that container, and then just add the colliders to each one that way, because the children will all be sprites or other containers or whatever. So there's a chance that would work. Let's first. I just want to see something. Oh, new MC class. Okay, that's how we're doing that. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, why don't we try doing that? Let's say basically pretty much the same thing, but we'll just say this dot what do we call it? Enemies dot for each, and we'll go enemy fat arrow function, and then this function is going to be called every single time it loops over one of the, it's just a for loop, that's all it is. Just loops over all the enemies in the container and calls this on each of them, but I think it should actually be this.enemies.list.forEach. And then we'll just add the collision between the enemy sprite, not enemies, enemy sprite, which is our argument, which is the current iterator, blah blah, and the solid layer. So fingers crossed that this works. Ah, no, still no. Drat. That's a drag. But the internet won't let us down. I'm sure the internet has answers here. Phaser 3, collider, container, container versus map. I don't know. Body. Oh, maybe we. I don't know. Let's just say collider container will probably give us better search results here. Maybe, okay. Oh, unless... Oh, hold on. I have a theory about why this isn't working. Let's comment this out. And we'll say this.physics.add.collider, this.enemies, enemies, and this.solid layer. But the difference is we're going to change this to this.physics.add. Or are we going to want to do that now that I think about it? Because that might treat them all with like this. Let's just try it and see if it works. This might treat like all of the bad guys. Yeah, okay. This is throwing an error anyways, so interesting. This.physics.container or .add.container is not a function. Okay. I'm surprised that this doesn't work. I was really hoping that something like this would work out of the box. This physics.add collider, this stuff here. Yet it does not. Drag. What a drag. Containers have arrived. Great. Okay, so sprite.add container and container.add. Okay, sure. Okay. Container's an input, not exactly what we want. Set interactive is also not what we want. Oh, that's a screenshot anyways, but drat, non-exclusive containers, don't know what that means, but don't know that. Oh, scene transitions, that's a whole other thing, which is cool, and we're going to look into that later, but scene transitions is for another day, another stream. Collision. Okay. Game Dev Stack Exchange. Oh, I should join this one. I don't think I'm a member of this one. Yeah, join this community. Cool. Join it right now. Boom. Oh, I got 100 things. Cool. You've earned a bonus 100 reputation because we trust you on other sites in this network. In the network. Cool. Neato. Although there's not much of a... Oh, add static group. Interesting. What is the difference between a group and a physics.static group? Interesting. Okay, let's try using this, because this is apparently a physics thing. So let's just console log and make sure we actually have that function in our version of Phaser, because things do change pretty fast in the Phaser land. So there's a chance we don't, but good chance we do. We're looking for add.static group. So add is a factory and proto static group right there. Yeah, cool. Okay, so there's a chance we're not using a container. We want a static group. So let's check this out. Let's say this dot up here physics dot oopsies dot add, and we want static group And that looks to just take an... Oh. Let's look up the documentation for that function, because I don't really know what those arguments are all about. It's an x and a y and a key of some sort, but phaser 3, boom. Boom, phaser 3, static group. So children to add to this group or config if the argument. Okay. Yeah, cool. So that's yeah, it's an array. So world scene children is what we're looking for. So that's cool. So maybe these are just, maybe the difference between static group and containers is that that you don't you can't apply mass physics to all the things in the static group. They have to have their own physics for each sprite or whatever it is. That would make sense to me. What are we looking for? We're looking for physics.arc. Well, that's going to bring us to the same thing, isn't it? .add classes. Search for, well, not bookmark. Oh, come on, get out of here. Remove. Add. No add function. Okay, weird. Well, whatever. Let's just mess around with it and see if we can get it working. I imagine it would take the same. Well, wait. Actually, we can check its arguments right here, can't we? Static group children. So apparently, all you have to add is the children, not the config. Okay, or not the x and y. That's seems weird to me, but whatever. Maybe the group doesn't need an x and y. It's just a group. Yeah, maybe maybe this is more of how it differs from containers. Anyways, I'm getting way off track now. So the point is we need to add a collider between this and enemies and the solid layer, which we are doing, and that is now representing a static group instead of a thing, whatever. Still no collision though. Ooh, and we're really lagging out now. This is something. Wow, why is that so laggy? That's fine now. But it was really lagging hard there for a second. It was working hard at something. Okay, interesting. Heard this song a few too many times on this stream. I want a different one. So, okay. Drag that's not working, but there's a really solid chance I'm using it wrong, because that's just, you know what, I know that it said the arguments were so, but I'm just going to try passing it in with a x and y, because it seems weird to me that you wouldn't pass that in, but still nothing. Okay. Is there like a tutorial on static groups or something that we can look at? That's one thing that I'm really hoping to contribute to and help bridge a gap on, is that I find with Phaser, and particularly with Phaser 3, there is there's not there are tutorials out there, but there's not tutorials for React and stuff like that, which fair enough, it is. I guess if I just type static groups, that's not going to help, which makes sense because way more people use React and stuff like that, but still it would be nice if we could. Here we go. Oh, this.add physics.add static group platforms equals, and then you create things within the group. Interesting. Okay, so I think maybe this is supposed to just hold static objects, which would totally make sense. But since that's the case, I think it's not going to work for our purposes, which is a bummer. Just say container collision detection Phaser 3. Collision detection Phaser 3? Okay, I mean, okay, well, let's see what they've got here, but I don't know if this is what we're looking for. Physics. Oh, physics.add group. What? How did I not know about this? Okay, wow, this is great. And then you can add colliders and overlaps and all that stuff. All right. So physics.add group. Oh, but that's funny. You pass in like a key and a XY and a step X. Oh, funny. This is like a way of doing it, I guess, but it is kind of different than what I was expecting. But for now, let's give it a try. Let's see. Because in this case, you, in theory, wouldn't... Or I guess we could still pass in something? Yeah, I don't know. Let's... I just want to see the docs on this function real quick. Group. Group first group, that's... Phaser 3. Class group, here we go. Yeah, so what does it take? It takes a world, and you can pass in children. Cool. So let's, oh, you know what we can do? We can just console log that function and then see all the arguments that way. This dot physics dot add dot, let's just say dot add, and then we can see everything that you add into the physics object. Shoot, which line number is that? 30? Oh, well, it's transpiled, so that's not helpful. Well, I guess it's going to be add, so it'll be a factory. So, okay. In our prototype, there you can add a collider. You can add a destroy, which is weird. You can add an existing, which we've used in the past, and a group. Okay, so yeah, you can pass in children to the group, so that's good news. Children or config, so maybe it just checks if it's an array versus an object, I would imagine. So yeah, anyways, so let's say this dot enemy equals this dot physics dot add dot group, and we'll pass in our enemies array. All right, which should just contain our one guy, and all we're trying to get is this collider to work so that he doesn't just fall through the ground. Ooh, and there's a big error. Explosion of errors. Let's see. Cannot set property class type of undefined. Grand. And it's deep inside phaser again, so this is going to be tricky to debug as usual, but let's see. I bet you it's a problem with the arguments, because let's see. It's really annoying that I can't find the add functions for the documentation for them. That is irritating to me. I'm sure it's in there somewhere. I just don't know how to find it. Just search add. Okay, that's a lot. What would it would be in physics, I guess. So physics. Oh, which physics? Arcade physics. Arcade physics. Okay, so arcade physics. Arcade.arcade physics, and we'll say add. Oh, add. Boom. Here we go. So it's extending the arcade factory. An object holding, factory methods. Okay, interesting, cool. This is starting to come together. So, did it not say the arguments on that last page? It does not, okay. Oh, right, because it's not just dot add, it's dot add dot group is what we want. So yeah, children is the first object. That's funny. Game objects to add to this group, or the config argument, config argument. Right. So phaser.gameOb. What are we even? Are we? I thought we were just passing in an array. Is that not what it's expecting? Oh, no. Because there's nothing in the array, so That would help, hopefully. Yet, unfortunately, it looks like we're still getting errors. Oh, yeah, no we are. Okay. So what's undefined in this instance? Let's see. Big, our debugger. There we go, that's better. Give it a little bit of room so we can still see the game, sort of, and so local, so config is undefined, sure. But I thought config was optional. Yeah, it's optional, so why would it matter if it's undefined? Is that what it's yelling about? Let's take another look. What is the error again? It's cannot accept property class type of undefined. Class type. Oh, so yeah, config.classType is undefined. So that's funny because we should be allowed to pass in nothing, but let's just try passing in an empty object for our configuration, just on the off chance that that's just kind of a bug in Phaser or something. So, oh yeah, I gotta release this from the debugger. Resume, or reload. Yeah, cool. All right, yeah, maybe that was just a bug, that it isn't actually optional. Ah, look at that. Yeah, he jumps around. Jump around. Jump up, jump up, jump up. Get down. It is slow though. But I mean, again, that slowness could be part and parcel with the fact that I'm running the stream at the same time. So, because I don't have a super beefy computer, I have recently upgraded to 8 gigabytes of RAM instead of 4. So, all for you guys. That's all for that in pursuit of that buttery 1080p stream that we had before, but we're back to 720p land for now. Anyways, yeah, okay, so cool. That did work. It is just a little laggy on my machine while running the stream and everything else. And just a tiny bit, but it's not that bad. Anyways, cool. So we've got our enemy, which is now contained within a physics group, which is a new term for me. I was expecting it to be all containers or whatever. But now we should be able to add an overlap, or maybe not an overlap, but like a death zone, as they're calling it, between our particles and whatever sprite within our group it actually comes into contact with. Because eventually in the future, right now we've just got the one enemy, but in the future we're going to want to be able to add many enemies to this group and perhaps randomly spawn them and who knows what. So we need to be able to have this overlapping hit test type deal be pretty dynamic. And I've already read some online that physics.add overlap doesn't work with particles, so yes, sir. We're gonna have to, yeah, this is the question about the collision for particles. Not really a collision, but yeah, death zone, interesting. So on enter, source is red call. Okay. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. We're gonna have to somehow get this group object. We're gonna have to get that into the MC object, which is easy enough. We can go like this and just add it before the MC class, which shouldn't give us any problems. Let's just confirm that real quick before we go any further. Okay, still appears. Now, does he still hit the ground? Yes, great. Gonna be able to gun him down here any second. Just stand by. Now, okay. So, let's see. Yeah, because we have him in a variable before the new MC class, we should be able to pass in like another like enemies key or something. There could very well be a better way of doing this, but I'm thinking for now this is gonna work. So our MC Africa fight class, that's this gentleman right here. So now in our constructor, we're going to have an extra thing in the config, which is going to be the enemies. And let's see. First of all, let's just, where are we adding the emitter? Here we go. So it needs to be before this bullet emitter function, or the create emitter function. It has to go down before that. So super is where we're adding the container, which is our sprite, to the, well, that's where we're adding it, and super is where we're instantiating it. We're enabling the physics, we're adding itself to the physics. Now, before we configure anything, why don't we add our enemies? Enemies. Nope. Enemies? Yeah. To, or, oh yeah, hold on, it's not going to be there, because the death zone seems to look like it uses like this kind of function to, and it has it's an object that has a contains function. This is funny. This is an unusual way of doing it. I wouldn't have, I mean, I'm sure there's reasons for how this all works, but I mean, at least there's a body.hit test function. That's handy. So okay, so death zone. Yeah, so we'll go like this. We'll say death zone. Does it tell it? It wouldn't tell us which sprite, would it? Or no, we can, yeah, we can figure that out. Okay, so death zone. So type is on enter, and source is our object that contains that function. So we'll just say this dot enemy zone. I guess enemy zone kind of makes sense. I don't know what collision, I guess, is what that's referring to. So yeah, let's just say enemy collider. I don't know, that kind of makes sense to me. Now up here, or why don't we just do it right before the emitter? So we'll say create the enemy collision, or enemy dash particle, why don't we say collision object. So we'll say this dot enemy collider equals new object, and just like this guy did, we'll have a contains function, and we're going to use ES6, so we'll use a fat arrow function instead of the traditional function, but it's the same deal. XY fat arrow, and we'll say return, or we'll say let touching equals false, and then we'll say this, not thus, this dot, not update, this dot, or we don't even, well, we should assign it to a variable, I guess. So we'll, before the collider, we'll say this dot enemies equals config dot enemies. Oh, hey, what's up? I've got my chat really small right now. So, JL, hey, how's it going, man? I'm good. I'm feeling way better tonight, way more alert. So, good news there. How are you doing? Anyways, we'll say this dot enemies dot for each, and we'll have an enemy in this one, and we'll say let's see, this is how we're going to detect which of our enemies the bullets are actually coming into contact with. So if this hit test ever returns true, we'll know that this is the enemy that got hit by the bullets, whatever. What did they use? They had a body.hit test function. That's amazing. I can't believe I didn't know about that. So if we say if enemy.body.hit test. Busy man, got so much on my plate. Happy to see you doing well. Thanks, JL. What kind of stuff you got on the go, if you don't mind my asking? If it's personal, don't feel like you have to tell me, but yeah, if it's like work related or whatever, feel free to tell me all about it, man. Anywho, let's see. So hit test, and you pass an X and Y into it. So the X and Y in this case is going to be the X and Y that is passed into our contains function, apparently. And if that ever happens, for now, we're just going to say touching touching equals true, and we will return touching. And so what that should do is make the bullets at least disappear or die, because it's called a death zone, so I guess kill the bullets. This will hopefully kill the bullets when the bullets actually hit the bad guy. That's what we're going for with this function. But, did I hook that up to the emitter? Yes, I did. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's give it a try. Save that, hopefully no errors. Or I should keep that console open, as always. Reload that. Okay. Oh, cool. So I'm shooting, I'm clicking to shoot, and because it's touching the bad guy, I think they're disappearing right away. Oh, it's kind of hard to tell, but I think it's working. I'm going to slow down that enemy a little bit so that we can actually see what we're dealing with here. Or just make him so he doesn't jump for now. Random velocity, let's just make that 0 for now. So he's not moving at all. Working on some side projects, and school is taking a lot of time and work. Gotcha, man. Oh, what? Why is it still jumping? Oh, as I did the wrong thing. That would be why. Right there, set Y velocity. We'll just comment that line out. Yeah, man, that makes sense. All of those things totally take up a lot of time, no doubt. So now you should just, yeah, that's funny. That's kind of a cool. So that's funny. The bullets kind of can graze him, but if it seems like if they directly hit them, they stop. Which, I mean, isn't totally ideal, but like, I think for our purposes, it's gonna work out pretty well. That's actually hilarious, like, enemy, AI. It's AI. It is AI, totally. Artificial intelligence approved. We have life in computers. Just kidding. This is definitely not AI. This is really not AI. But anyways, like the worst AI in the world. But yeah, anyways, the point is the bullets disappear when you hit him with shooting them, so that's step 1 done. Your current job is really awesome though, says JL97. That's awesome, dude. I'm really glad to hear that. What is the job you're doing, if you don't mind my asking? If I'm prying too much, just tell me to get lost and I will, but I like getting to know you guys. This interaction, real-time interaction between viewer and streamer is really cool. I really dig this a lot. Anyways, cool. So now that that's working, I guess there's a few things we can do. We can make the particles have some kind of animation so that they, or actually I don't know if we can do that because there's nowhere inside this function that we have access to the particle. In fact, it's just going to disappear when it returns true, so we can't really animate the particles. Okay, so maybe not the particles, but we can... Yeah, what are we going to do here? Let's figure this out. Let's, oh, this is the level. We want the fight. Yeah, so in this contains function... Oh, cool. It's ghosted, not AI. Fair, yeah. And you're a tutor at a community college. That's you tutor a student at a community college. That's sick, dude. I've actually recently been trying to get like a code mentor kind of job, so it sounds kind of along the same lines as what you do, and which is cool, man. I really get a lot out of teaching people. Actually, one of my very first jobs in tech ever was summer camp where we taught kids how to like make Flash games back when that was a thing. So that kind of dates it a little bit, but anyway, yeah. That's cool though, man. Glad to hear you're enjoying your job. So I still really don't know much about these particle emitters. I really just, this code is like lifted verbatim from some example and I just tweaked it a little bit here and there, but it's cool that we can have these colliders. So I mean, we don't have access to the actual particle. Maybe there's a way to do that, but anyway, point is, it will disappear right away anyways, but we can make the, maybe what we could do, so I've got an idea for something we can do that's really easy for like a very basic kill this enemy kind of thing. We could say enemy dot, what would it be? Let's just console.log the enemy every time we hit it. Enemy. This will tell us what we have access to, so boop, boop. Arcade sprite. Perfect, so it's the arcade sprite reference that we have access to. That's perfecto. Ooh, that lag. That lag is real. Ah. Anyways, the point is we have access to this, so I want to see... Yeah, why don't we do like a flash tint? Or... not a flash tint. Why don't we just, super simple, we'll just reduce the opacity with each bullet that hits it, so it kind of like fades as you're shooting it. Really basic, but at least it's just doing something so we know that this is all working and we have, So it's .alpha is what we want, so we'll say const enemy alpha equals enemy dot alpha. Or even, you know what we could do? We could be a little more ES6y, and we'll say alpha equals enemy, and then we're destructing it, destructing, whatever it's called. Anyways, so I've got the alpha in a variable, and we're looking probably for a set alpha variable. Let's just take a look at the prototype and see what it says. Set, maybe it's set opacity. I always imagine set opacity, but it could be set alpha. Or not in here at all. Funny. Do a search in here. That's always good. A good idea. Set alpha. No, nothing for set alpha. Set opacity? No. Drat. Oh, but it's probably in the game object prototype. Yeah, right. Here we go. Because it's extending game object. Okay, cool. Set alpha. Yeah, perfect. Oh, what? What? Set alpha top left, bottom right? Whoa, that's cool. So we can do like corners? Neato. Well, that's very cool. Okay. Let's just pass it into the first argument and see if it like reduces the alpha on a corner or something. That'd be really cool. We could almost like have it like a chip away system, like you chip away from the like corner of the enemy that you hit. I don't know. That would be cool. So let's say, so enemy dot set alpha, and we'll say alpha because it defaults to 1. We'll say minus 0.05. So it would take like quite a lot of shots to get it down to 0, but it should in theory work. I don't want to start it here. I want to actually shoot him while he's running around on the ground. Actually, we'll turn the jump logic back on too. Ooh, that lag though. It lags really hard just for like a second at the start, but then it seems to figure itself out. Anyways, look at that. You can shoot him. Shoot him into oblivion, into emptiness. Cool. But, you know, obviously the real thing we probably want to do here is either create... This might be a good time to create the enemy class. Since this is just JS, you can run it in Node and Electron to make a desktop version. True that, man, and that was actually a plan. And also we can use something like Apache Cordova to create like mobile native app versions of the game too. I've done that before with a React app and it worked pretty okay. So I'm going to turn his jumping back on by uncommenting that line of code. And now he should jump around again. And actually we should probably reposition him too, because right now he's very likely to jump off the edge and we don't really want that. So here we have 500, let's set that to like 750 and see if that's enough to just push him right past the edge of this little cliff. And I think that's good. Boom. Now he falls down and jumps in the cave. So the cave's not exactly the best place to test this because unfortunately everything layers behind the cave. So that's a layering bug I have to fix actually, but we'll fix that in a minute. Just see if he'll come out of the cave here. Boom, there he is. Ah, come on, get back out here. I need to shoot you. Come on, Robo. Thanks, man. That's the plan. For now, it's just going to be like a progressive web app version. That's going to be like the main development version. The like bleeding edge version is always just going to be a web app, because the web app you can run on, you know, you can run on a desktop computer, you can run on a phone, it doesn't matter. And you'll be able to cache it too, so you can, we'll get service workers involved and make it so that you can actually save the app to the phone and everything. Anyways, let's start shooting this guy. Bam, 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 bam. That doesn't actually take as many shots as I thought, but I think that's just because we're shooting like an insane amount of bullets right now. And obviously he's still jumping around, he's just invisible, but point is, we've got kind of shooting enemy logic working now. Why don't we I guess if we reduce the amount that our gun shoots, it might make it a little bit more visible what's going on. So yeah, let's see. Quantity 1, that's good. Let's see what all these variables are doing, or what all this configuration is doing. So X and Y is obvious. Lifespan is how long the bullets last before they die on their own. So that's 2 seconds. Speed, minimum, maximum. Why don't we set that to be the same? Because in theory, it's a gun. It's not really gonna, it's like a new age electric gun, so I doubt it's gonna really freak out on us much. The angle is just set to 330, but I think later on we're updating that angle dynamically. Oh, in our aim function, that's where that's going down. Yeah, so bullet emitter.set angle, and we're passing in our radian, which we calculate by the angle between the mouse and the character. And down here is where we're looking. So we are updating the angle dynamically. The gravity Y, if we set that to 0, will they just fly in a straight line? Because that's kind of what I was going for initially. And actually, I think I'm going to swap this around. I'm going to say 0.5 and down to 0. Or really, we could just have that be the same as well, and then the bullets won't change scale at all, which is probably what we're going to end up doing. But for now, let's just check this out and see how this looks. Ooh, big bullet. Yeah, okay, so it's kind of like he's shooting a laser gun now. Bam, 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 bam. I just wonder if there's a way we can set the, like, so it's not... Of course, he always jumps in here, so you know what? I'm just going to make it so he can only jump to the right, just for now, just so we can chase him down and shoot him, just to make things this life easier. So, yep. Okay. So he's either going to jump straight up and down or to the right, I think, I hope. Yeah, there's a straight up and down jump, and there's one to the right. Cool. That's actually a pretty sweet gun. It's like a plasma beam. Craziness. But you can, it's really obvious though that it's coming out of his arm now. So maybe that should be the next thing that we fix, is the having it so that it comes out the tip of his gun instead of out of his shoulder. Like, maybe if he was like some Super Saiyan guy, but the characters in this game aren't really going to have any superpowers. It's all going to be like very sci-fi. Sci-fi minus superpowers. It's going to be like they're a future version of us in real IRL. Cool. Anyway, point is it works, and that's a bit different of a shooting experience. That was weird though. I kind of made the bullets disappear. No? Okay, whatever. I'm just seeing things. Don't mind me. Leave that for now so we can test it a bit easier. And I'm thinking let's have this way down to like 0.2 and at 0. Let's just see what that looks like. We're not even really seeing it, the scaling down happening actually, which is interesting. So, I mean, yeah, we're not really seeing that at all, so it must just be because our duration is too high. So like if we change this to like 500, we'll probably see it in full effect. 500 might even still be too high actually. Oh no, 500 is good. You can see it coming down now. That's almost just like a little candle gun, like a little flame that it shoots now. This is cool, man. I love this. You can just configure the particles a little bit, and then you get like drastically different like shooting technique things. I don't really like how the falling of the character results in the bullets falling. Like, well, I mean, I guess that's realistic, but it shouldn't like lift like that. You know what I'm saying? It's really obvious when you're falling right at the start. Here, I'll reload and see what I'm talking about. Like if I shoot now. Oh, actually it's not as, well, kind of, like that. Like that angle shouldn't be going up as I fall. It should maintain the angle of the, whatever you're pointing at. In my mind. Shoot out that robot. Bam. Bam, bam. Bam. Come back, robot. And zap, I'm good. Anyways, yeah, so let's... I mean, that lifespan realistically isn't going to work for our... Yeah, but still, so we've got no gravity Y, but it's almost like they have, like... It's, I guess it's like the particles... Yeah, I don't know. But, well, whatever. Let's just mess with this a little bit more. Why don't we change this to quantity, like, 3 and see what happens if we do that. I'm thinking what happens now is maybe it's just 3, like, does it do, like, triple damage to the guy now, basically? Because we've got, I'm guessing, 3 particles overlaying each other. And because we don't have any, yeah, I think that's what's happening. Yeah, okay. Anyways, so that's not what we want. We'll keep quantity as 1. But why don't we... How did we get it so that it's kind of like randomized before? Like, oh, it was the random speeds that was doing it. Yeah. So having different speeds, it must randomize them all or something. So, okay. Let's put the min to like 500 and the max to 600. So they're pretty close. So we should see like a little bit more tightly packed. Yeah. So now we have like a more tightly packed kind of slight randomization between the particles, which I guess is good. Why don't we start it at 0.2 and make it grow to like 1 just to see. This is going to be crazy. It's just going to be like a giant, huge bubble fest, but yeah. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, it looks like a flamethrower. Hell yeah. Actually, hold on. One thing to make it even more flamethrowery. Blend mode, add. Check this out. Oh. Maybe not. Oh, that's just because I have a syntax error. Now we're good. Transpiler yelling at us. Okay, kinda. Well, it's not as cool as I thought. I thought it would have like blue edges, and it kinda does, very slightly maybe. But anyways, that's neato. So it's like a flamethrower gun. So I mean, I guess we gotta kind of decide on what this gun's actually gonna be. Viewers, if you have any thoughts on what kind of gun you would like to see, please shout out in the chat. I will accommodate as best I can. Because right now we've got a flamethrower option, which is pretty neat, like it's like a little one-handed flamethrower. But I was thinking of this gun as more of like an electric kind of pulse gun, or like a bolt gun or something like that. I mean, particles might not even be the best approach for like a bolt gun, but I don't know. But yeah, if there's anything you guys want to see for the first gun of No Place Like, drop it in the chat and I'll do my best. Open to requests. I am kind of digging the flamethrower-ish thing, though. That's neato. And it's even cooler how it kind of like fades them out now because of it's almost like it's burning them down. Like, maybe we should make it so that the sprite gets destroyed when it hits alpha 0. Let's do that. Let's console log our sprite when we hit him again, just so we have access, we can see what's inside that object. And we'll say enemy. So that's our bad guy sprite. When we hit him, we should see some stuff being logged out. Boom, boom. There we go, arcade sprite. Okay. Ooh, that lag though, holy. If I run, is it just bonkers? Pretty slow. Anyway, whatever. I wonder if it's just, I do have a fair bit running at the moment, so that could be why. But anyways. So, okay, I've kind of got an idea for this gun, although it might be a little bit funny. I'm thinking, what if this gun was like a shrink ray, and you held it on you kept shooting enemies with it until they... Oh, hold on. It would be cool to make a lightning gun, JL says. Shoot lightning or laser. Laser. Yeah, I feel that. Okay, so lightning or laser. Okay. And we need to figure out like what the projectiles are actually going to do when they come into contact with our enemies. So like, are they going to explode? Are they going to like shock the enemy or something? Or I don't know. I was thinking just as like kind of a fun gun to make, we could make it so that the gun, shrinks the enemy. Would be kind of fun and pretty easy to implement too. We just have to use the scale, the scale functions, and just slowly reduce it. And then once it gets to 0, just remove the game object completely. So we're gonna look for the game object prototype, which is what sprite is extending. And we want like just remove or delete or something like that. I don't know. Remove? No. Oops, not that. Delete. Destroy maybe. Destroy. Ignore destroy, clear mask, pre-destroy, ignore destroy, clear mask again, nothing. What is game object? That's event emitter. I don't know. Let's just look up phaser 3, destroy, sprite. See what this gives us. Destroy / kill a sprite, that's good. What do we want? Just to say that I worked on this quite a bit the other day. Here's a full example. Beautiful. Edit this so I can see the source, and we just need the line for destroying a sprite. That's all we need. Oh, game object.destroy. Cool. Okay. So let's say, I think the flame is going out from his hand, not the gun. Yeah, it is. That's a bug that we can look into fixing. I think it'd be cool to fix it on this stream. Might as well. Yeah, the particles are currently being emitted from basically his shoulder instead of from the tip of his gun. So I just did that because it was a little bit easier in a previous stream and I wanted to get the projectiles working quickly. But yeah, we can totally look at fixing that in this stream. I just want to implement this like shrink ray technology just real quick, because I think that would be kind of a cool gun. It doesn't necessarily have to be this gun for the final thing. I just want to see if we can get it working. So let's say, I mean, I guess it's going to be the same. It's going to be this X scale and Y scale will be the same. So really, we can just say dot X scale. So X scale equals enemy. I think that's the property. Wait, let's see. Oh, scale X. My bad. Might be. Is there just a scale? No. Okay. So scale X. Scale X equals enemy. Then we're gonna say set scale, and we'll say scale X minus, but since we've got so many particles being emitted, we might as well just do 0.01 instead of 0.05, just to make it a bit of a slower kind of shrinking process. And actually, I'm going to clear that console log out, so hopefully it won't be quite as laggy. Oops, save, reload that. Cool. Let's bring it on back. All right. Ha! There he goes. That's still pretty fast, though, to shrink. That shrinks him pretty damn quickly. Oh, that's kind of a neat challenge, actually. He becomes like harder and harder to hit the smaller he gets. Also, he's really fast, but look at you, little ant robot now. Step on you and crush you. Oh, actually, he becomes way harder to hit because we're using a precise XY hit test, so like the actual center of the particle has to hit the center, or not necessarily the center, but it has to be within the region. Hey, X Killer Knight, what's up? I know you only gonna change the image point bullet spawn, but I see those things on construct 2 because I am 0 on coding. No, fair enough, man. That's all good. Yo, how's it going? Glad to see you came. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, the scaling effect. Hey, JL, I like that too. So I think we'll keep that around, but let's maybe, whoopsies. My system has this really annoying bug where it just scrolls wherever it feels like it the first time you scroll when changing windows. It's really annoying. Anyways, let's change that to like 001, so it really takes a long time to lower that scale. I'm gonna wait until we're down on the ground and start blasting him. Oh man, he's fast though, shit. I gotta maybe slow him down a tad. Kind of chase after him, chase him up the map. I'm guessing he's fallen down then by now though, so oh no, wow, he made it that far. Good for him. And we fell down the same hole. Whoops. Anyways, cool. So I'm gonna take off his jump logic again, and or actually just resume his jump left or right. And why don't we say random velocity times like 100, so he's always a little bit slower than he is currently, because right now he can be pretty damn fast. Sometimes he only jumps a little bit, but other times he like leaps across the map, so that's no good. Let's make him a little bit more, like that's probably the max that he's going to jump right there, and he's probably going to go in the cave, so let's make you small now. Ah. Boom, cool. I think that's a proof of concept. I think once he gets to a certain point, though, it's almost like unhittable. So I think we're going to have to just like get him to this point, and then like once you hit him once, he just explodes or something. I don't know. So anyway, that's cool. Actually, I think what we're going to do... Yes, I know what we're going to do. We're going to simplify this, and we're going to abstract... Well, okay. Back it up a little bit. First thing we're going to do is we're going to fix that bug where the bullets are coming out of his shoulder instead of the gun. We're going to fix that first. But after if we get that working and we have time to spare, what I want to do is I want to then abstract the enemy logic into its own class, like a generic enemy class that extends sprite or perhaps probably container, and can be extended to create custom enemies, but again, we have like that base class that we're extending so it's a more object-oriented, modular way of doing things, which is just going to help us out tremendously in the future. And anyways, the point of where I'm going with all this is that each enemy will have its own custom like death animation. So once you get its health down to a certain point, like 0 obviously, once its health hits 0 or below, then it'll trigger the death animation, and then once the death animation is done, it'll destroy the object. Yada yada. Moving on. Job done. So yeah. But this isn't a job. I love doing this stuff. If this could be my job, I would be the happiest person in the world. I don't need billions and billions of dollars. I just want to do this full time. That is my whole goal with all of this. Anyways, let's see. So, where do we even start? Oh, okay, well, we're starting with the gun logic, so that'll be in our MC Africa fight class. And, okay, there's 2 potential ways we can do this that I can think of. One is being, like, legit trigonometry, mathematician-y folk, and, like, really doing the math, which I suck at. So I'm going to opt for the second option, which is to set the origin point of the, I don't know, either the bullets or probably more likely the bullet emitter to be like the same as the origin point for the gun. And then, or sorry, the X and Y will be the same as the gun. And then we'll offset it by a certain origin, like the same that we're offsetting the gun. And then in theory it should be coming out of the gun instead of out of his shoulder. And just we're already rotating that the same way we're rotating the gun, and that's how we have the gun extended out, is its origin point is the shoulder, and we're setting the XY to be the same as the arm XY, but we have it offset so that it's down at the end of the hand, and so it looks like he's holding the gun. So we're going to try and do basically the same thing, but with the bullet emitter. So where to begin? We're already setting the X and Y in the to the configurations X and Y, which is fine, I suppose. Are we updating that anywhere? Let's just take a look, see. Yes, we are updating that. So we're setting the position when both... Okay, for the touchscreen controls, we're setting the emitter's position to something wacky when both thumbs are being pressed on the screen. That's for touchscreen controls. For mouse pointer controls, it's just when the mouse is being clicked, we're doing the same thing. Probably could abstract this logic, actually, because, I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be repeated. Keep our code as dry as possible. Oh, Xkiller Knight, you said, I'm sure with your experience you can find some contract with some game industry. Thanks, man. I hope so, but I'm not... To be honest, I'm kind of a game development noob. My professional work always revolved around either apps or websites or databases or whatever. I used to do full stack like web development for work, but I don't know. I'm kind of having a career rethink at the moment. I still want to do this. Don't get me wrong. This is what I want to do full time, but I'm not going to get there for a long time. I know that. I just have to keep grinding at this as much as I can, but in the meantime, find something that pays the bills. Anywho, just check my phone real quick. Sorry, my buddy's just texting me. Done. Anyways, let's see. So, okay, yeah, so right now we're setting the positioning to something really odd. So what I'm thinking is, within our container, we already have the arms and gun position, so why not just set it to the same... We're kind of setting it relative to the bolt pistol X, which is weird that I didn't just set it to the bolt pistol X. I feel like something must have been funny. That's the touchscreen control, so we're not going to bother messing with those right now. We'll just focus on the mouse controls for now. I'll update the touchscreen controls either this stream or in a later stream. But yeah, so like why would setting the position to the bolt pistol's position, that's our gun, not just work? Let's take a gander. Okay, apparently that's way over there. That's odd. And it's not even shooting at all now, because I guess it must be offset way somewhere up here. So that is pretty clearly why I'm not doing that. Okay, so I think what must be happening is the bolt pistol X and Y. Let's console log those. This dot bolt pistol dot X. This dot bolt pistol dot Y. And I bet you these numbers are not changing. I bet you they're constant. Yeah, 24 by 80. Yeah, so 24 by 80, they're not changing because JL says game industry is pretty hard. Yeah, I've got a buddy who works in it. He's actually worked at a lot of like decent companies. Like he worked for EA in Vancouver, which is pretty rad. Or he might still, actually, now that I think about it. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to him and be like, yo, what's working in the game industry like? I maybe want to. But again, I don't know. I really, like, as much as like I know career is important and everything, and like obviously putting food on the table is important, I kind of like had a little bit of a priority shift at my last job. I actually got fired. And I just basically was like, you know, if my own projects are ever going to go anywhere, I kind of have to take them seriously, right? And like I have to be willing to like put most of my time and energy into these projects. So like really, not even gonna lie, earlier today I applied at like a gas station that's right up the road from me for night shifts. So like in my theory is I can run this stream until about midnight my time and then just like shut it off and just go do my job at a gas station. But since it's a gas station and hopefully it's a night shift and there won't be many customers because like I don't live downtown or anything, because of that I'm hoping that like, you know, in theory I'll be able to just bring my laptop and like work on stuff for this. Just I won't be able to stream, but like I'll still be able to work on the project or sort of like stuff revolving around the project or whatever, and just really make that my focus. And you know, even if I have to live on like, you know, not the best wage in the world, whatever it is they pay at the gas station, then you know, whatever, that's fine. I don't need, like I've said it before and I'll say it a million times, I don't need tons of money. I just want a comfortable enough life with doing this full time is my job, or is my goal, sorry. My goal is this to be my job, blah blah. Anyways, rant over, speech over. Get back to this. So let's see. So yeah, setting that doesn't work because those are just fixed, because those numbers are relative to the container, which must have been why I was, so let's console log this dot x, this dot y. I want to see what these numbers are because I'm hoping that they're updating as we fall. The y is updating, so yeah, that's good because our x obviously isn't going anywhere, but now our x updates when we go left and right. Okay, so let's set it to the this dot x and y first, and let's just see. This is probably going to make the bullets come into the top corner or something, but that's a starting point. Yeah, that's exactly what I figured was going to happen. It's up in the top. You can see in the corner the box, blah blah. If only I could extend my hand over the stream magically somehow, that'd be cool. But anyways, yeah, so it's coming from the corner of his head, basically, the corner of his body box, which we made smaller than his body because his leg animations go outside of it. But anyways. We talked about that in previous streams. We don't need to delve back into all that stuff. Point is, it's working. So anyways, this dot x, why don't we just offset it by the pistol x now? So that makes sense to me. Although it makes sense to me, but I also feel like this is what perhaps I tried to do in the past, and for some reason it didn't work. So let's just try it and see what happens. In my mind, this kind of makes sense. But alas, it seems to be, well, it kind of looks like it's coming from his crotch now, like he's just like peeing clouds, which is lovely. Not really what we want. So I wonder why that is. That's funny, because to me, yeah, it's, well, I can show you with the mouse. To me, I believe the X and Y of the bolt pistol is right around here where my cursor is, with his, so like it's right in the middle of his shoulder, and that's how, and then we push the, like we set the origin, we offset the origin to make the gun pushed out to here, but its X and Y is actually here, and we just make that X and Y the same, or close to the same, as his shoulders, which is what I was hoping we could do with the particle emitter as well, although it's putting up a fight. What is that? Oh, that's Git. That's not an error. So, anyways. Funny that... Oh! You know what I think we're running into here? I think this is a case of... I bet you this is just the code I had before. Yeah, divided by 2. It's because we're scaling the character down. But let's just see, how much are we scaling him down by? Because it might not be 0.5. Oh, it is 0.5. Okay, so we're scaling him down by half. So we also have to divide. We have to cut our bolt pistol's X and Y in half, because that gives us the X and Y relative to like the full size version of him, not the scaled version of him, which is kind of strange, and like I almost want to put in a pull request on the phaser. I'd love to contribute something actually to phaser, so I'd love to put in a pull request that like addresses these kind of things, but I'll have to just start making notes of them as I go. But anyways, so yeah, that is basically what we had before, and it is now, yeah, more or less coming out of his shoulder. So I guess that is effectively the X and Y we want, what we had before. So sorry for kind of going around in circles, but oh, sorry. Let's see. JL, you said game industry is pretty hard, but exactly right mindset. What happened to your job though? Well, basically I was kind of bad. I was a bit of a scrub, and I just I don't know. I was effectively, I think what happened, I didn't actually have a proper conversation with them really, but I think what happened was that I was putting too much time into these projects, my own projects, versus the projects they wanted me to work on, and which were paying me to work on, and yeah, basically don't do what I did. That's a poor choice. It was a very, very good job, and the company was amazing, and I do feel like a bit of a fool for losing that job, but whatever. It's all life is just a learning experience, right? So what are you gonna do? Gotta just learn, roll with the punches. I think, why don't we fix this layering issue, because then that makes it so we can test everything in here and actually see the bullets when we're shooting in here too. So yeah, but now I'm thinking, yeah, let's do that. So our bullet emitter, or rather perhaps our bullets, where are we putting it in the container here? Let's see. No, you know what? Sorry, I'm going all over the place. Let's fix the offset first, because that, in theory, shouldn't be too hard. We should have an example of doing something similar in here already. Yeah, so set scale, or set origin rather. See how we're offsetting the origin by these amounts? It would be great to be able to pass in pixel values here, and perhaps there's a way of doing that. But as far as I can see, you can only pass in scalar values for now, which is fine. We can calculate all that, or just fiddle around with it until it looks right. So what I'm thinking we're gonna do is, oh, we don't even have the bullets or the bullet emitter inside of our character container, which actually kind of serves us well. In fact, are we doing anything in, no. So we need some way to access our bullets in here so that we can layer them between, like, properly in the world, not just within our character. But we'll get to that in a second. For now, we'll get them so that they're coming out of the tip of the gun instead of his shoulder. So let's do that. So where would we start with that? Let's see. I effectively around here, but I don't think we're going to be doing it on the bullets object. I don't really understand the difference between the particles object and the particle emitter, but I imagine we want to do it on the particle emitter, not the enemy collider, the bullet emitter. So, okay, so we are setting the rotation. So in theory, the rotation should just be pointing straight up on the y-axis to default. I imagine that's what 0 radians would default to. Not that we're defaulting to that, but we're automatically rotating. So anyways, we'll just start playing with it and see what happens. So let's go this dot bullet emitter dot set origin, and we'll say, so for the x, I guess it would just be 0.5 as it defaults to, and the y, let's set to 1 maybe, and let's just see what the difference is when we do this. If there's a difference. Hopefully there's a difference, or if there's an error. Okay. So apparently bullet emitter is not, set origin isn't a function, so that's interesting. So perhaps we do need to do these operations on the bullets themselves. So let's say, it's not even this dot, it's just bullets dot set origin, again 0.5 and 1. Let's just see if this works. It's all about just poking around until you get something that works. Okay, for an MVP anyways, which is what this is. Okay, so this is no good. Bullet.setOrigin is not a function either. Perhaps we have to reference the body. Let's just log out what we're dealing with here. So say bullets, and we'll say bullets, and we're going to do something similar, but we're going to emit console log the emitter as well. So let's do that. Emitter, and okay, it's 11 o'clock, so I've still got it like an hour-ish. I'm okay with letting this stream run a little bit long because the last few streams I've been kind of pooping the bed, if you will, on keeping it up. Poor choice of words, but I've been pooping the bed on streaming for a decent amount of time. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so particle and they look similar to me. They both extend. Okay, one of them extends object, one of them extends game object. So the emitter extends object, the bullets extend game object. So I imagine this is the one we want to mess with, although for some reason it doesn't have an origin, or let's take a look at the prototype. It would have an origin X and Y in here somewhere, I imagine. Perhaps that's just a property of sprites, now that I think about it. That could explain what's going on here. So yeah, if that only exists on sprites, then yeah, that would explain why it's not on this thing that's extending game object. So what else can we do? Well, okay, I guess there is the legit math way of figuring this out, which involves trigonometry and all kinds of stuff, but why don't we try and do it? I'm going to try math on a live stream, which are probably going to become my famous last words, but trigonometry, let's see, calculate x, y on the unit circle. God, I don't even know what I'm looking for, but Lord, this is just going to be... So calculating the xy positions in circle every n degrees. Yeah, that sounds kind of promising, actually. Oh, nice. X equals radius times cosine of the angle, or sine of the angle. And then if radians are used, then angle times that constant, and pass those in as radians. Okay. Cool. That was actually way easier than I thought. I was expecting this to go way off the rails. So, okay, in theory this math will work. We just need to implement it in code. So, okay. Yeah, so let's see. X. Okay. So this is going to be in our rotate function, I suppose. Or no, our aim function, rather, because that's where we're setting the angle on our bullet emitter. Because we're also going to need to set the position of the bullet emitter in here, but we're going to need to calculate that based on the radians as well as the radius of our, like, arm circle, I guess. Because that's how far out it's going to go. Yeesh. So, okay. So lost in code right now. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the set positioning code, which is what we were just messing with. We'll leave it same for mobile controls for now. But if we get through this, we'll update them for mobile as well. So now really the pointer down, all it needs to do is start and stop the emitter, which actually is very logical. And then our aim function is what's going to handle repositioning the emitter as well as rotating it. So let's get at it. So we're already setting the angle. Now we just need to set the position as well. But we're not going to be setting it to that. We're going to be setting it to our calculated position, for which we're going to need, well, actually we're going to need that X and Y. So break this up and we'll say const, let's just say like origin, or I don't know, shoulder X. That would probably be more descriptive. Shoulder X, I think that's how you spell shoulder. If I'm spelling shoulder wrong on a live stream, I do apologize. Spelling is one of those things that I regret to admit I'm kind of bad at, which is sort of sad, but like also it's 2019 and like our phones spell everything for us now, so I don't know, it's kind of easy to forget these things. Oh, oops, I said that shoulder X, we want shoulder X, shoulder Y. Okay, so with our starting position figured out, we can then figure it out by multiplying the radius times the cosine of the angle for X and the sine of the angle for Y. But that cosine and sine must be in degrees, not radians, because he specifies for radians down here. If radians is used, then radian... Oh. If... Huh. Radian is the standard of... Let's just try it with radians and see what happens. If it goes off the wall, then we know we got it wrong. But so let's say const emitter X equals what is it? So radius, which we don't actually know per se. I guess it would really be the width or length of the arm, but I don't really know how to access that just off the top of my head. So we'll just guess. We'll say, like, it's going to be less than this probably, but let's say 150 for the rate, or maybe just 125 for the radius times math.cos of the radians. And everywhere else we are passing in the radians as negative, although for the set angle function we're like, oh, we're converting them into degrees, then setting them the degrees to negative. I see. That's what we're doing. Okay. Yeah, so maybe we do need to do the conversion, which would make sense. Why don't we just convert radians to degrees right at the top here, so we can say const degrees equals radians times 180 divided by math.pi, and then we can say negative, or the whole thing's negative in this case actually, so well, whatever, negative degrees plus 82, and yeah. So now I'm just going to define our radius in here for now. We'll move this somewhere more applicable or calculate this on the fly somehow in a little bit, but for now we'll just define it as a constant in our function. And we'll say, just so we know what this is, it's labeled and everything, right? So when we look at this later with tired eyes, it'll all make sense. Surprised I'm not tired now. I'm actually wired. Let's see. So math.cosine, radians, but we probably want degrees. I imagine that's kind of what this guy seems to be alluding to. That's it, eh? And then the same for y, only emitter y equals radius times math.sine of degrees. Hopefully let's check what it says. Numeric expression that contains the angle measured in radians. Oh, it is radians. Okay, so we do want radians, not degrees. Cool. So radians. And just because I'm a little pedantic, I'll wrap all this in brackets because I like to do that. That's just my style. By the way, you guys, there is a tutorial coming. I will be posting soon on Medium. I'm just getting a couple friends to look over it and do some editing. But there will be a tutorial coming soon on how to set up a game development environment like this. I walked through it in one of the very early live streams, which won't be on Twitch anymore, but it is on YouTube. If you want to watch the full live stream, you're welcome to do that, but it's kind of long, so if you want to just get the abridged, shorter version, I have a tutorial coming for you. Just so you can work with this amazing ES6 class or object-oriented awesomeness that is ES6 JavaScript. Anyways, let's just go for gold and give this a try and see if it goes totally bonkers or if it works. I'm thinking bonkers, that I saw bullets being shot way over there and not anywhere relative to our gun. Whoops. Okay, so that's not quite right. Oh. Right, because we're not... yikes. So would it be what? Shoulder X plus this, I imagine? This is a kind of shot in the dark, but we'll give it a go. As you guys know, I am not mathematically minded, so this is all tricky for me. I have to look up anything related to math, but... Ooh! Hey! It's nearby us. Whoa, okay, it's a little wacky, but it is shooting kind of relative to our position. It's just... Oh, interesting. That's like... The angle's being set correctly, but where on the circle is kind of off. Although, you know what I just realized? We're offsetting this by 82 degrees. Oh god, but we have to do that conversion back and forth between degrees and radians. God, why can't math just decide on a way to work with angles and not have two? Why do we have a million? I know degrees are easier, but radians are just nicer to work with code. Kinda, in my opinion. Anywho, so shoot, my phone is thinking I'm talking to it. Okay. Anyways, let's see what. So emitter. Okay, yeah. So this is Okay, so we need to offset by 82 degrees, not radians. So I guess that would be in here. But oh, you know what we can do is we can calculate 82 radians as degrees and just like add that directly to the radians of our angle. I hope. It's kind of jank, but whatever. Hopefully it'll work. Oopsies. Let's go like that, and we'll say const rad offset equals 82 times. Why don't we put that in a variable too? Actually, we'll say emitter degree offset times 180 divided by math.pi, not poo, not math.poo, we want math.pi, lol, whoopsie daisies, and we want what? We want to define that first of all, so const emitter degree offset equals 82. Welcome, new viewers. Welcome, welcome. Welcome on, welcome all. So plus that, we can use it there, and we'll use it here to calculate our radian offset. And then we'll say, I hope this works, plus rad offset. So this should get the rotation a little bit more lined up of our, or yeah, the rotation of our emitter should line up a little better now. Oh, kinda, let's see. Oh yeah, sort of, but it's almost, yeah, so it's almost like we're doing completely the inverted. So again, the emitter is being rotated in the correct direction, because you can see it's sort of shooting roughly in the direction we're pointing our gun. It's not, nothing in this is quite precise, but anyways, it's like we're rotating. It is a little bit too far away, because if we point straight up, you can see there's a gap between the gun and that. So we'll close that in a minute. That's just as simple as adjusting the radius of our in our calculation. But first we need to figure out why it's kind of inverted and not inverted, or one's going one way, the other's going the other way. And I think that's probably just as simple as setting it to negative, because we are setting all these radian numbers to negative minus whatever offsets, and same thing with that, we're setting it to negative. So I don't know, just wrap this whole thing in in brackets and set it to negative. Let's see if that works. Just might. Oops. Typing. Did you guys have to do all the right type? Does anyone remember that? Anyone remember all the right type? Anyone have to do that, or is that just a Canadian thing? I don't know. Minus. Let's try this out. Okay, here we go. Oh, whoops. So, no, that does not work. Now we have no bullets. Or, probably not no bullets, but bullets just off somewhere in space that we can't see. And I'm guessing, yeah, nothing. I'm clicking, but nothing. So, okay, let's back it on up. Let's go. That probably doesn't work. Let's, instead of, yeah, I guess because we know the shoulder X and shoulder Y, maybe it's just this chunk that has to be negative, because this is everything relating to the actual angle, which is kind of more like what we're dealing with back here. Oh, yeah, okay, saw a puff. Not still. It's still kind of like inverted to one another, so that's funny. Why is it doing that? I wonder if it is actually just supposed to be degrees. Let's try degrees and degrees offset, just real quick here. I know it said radians, so it probably should be radians, but emitter degree offset, just in case. Emitter degree offset, oops, not that. That'll have us erroring out real good. Whoa, that's sick. I mean, it's totally not working, but it looked real cool. Whoa, dude. Storm gun, basically. Boom, 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 boom. Just shoot like a... I don't even know what's happening, man. I cannot even describe that. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's probably not right. Probably not degrees, what we're looking for. It was working. It was almost working with radians, so going from almost working to like full-on insanity is like probably not the step we want to be taking. Okay, so anyways, I almost want to make a gun that like does something like this, where it kind of shoots from somewhere around you, and like maybe you have like a little robot thing, that like a little orb that floats around you, and you aim still, but it shoots from the orb instead of from your hand. I don't know. So many possibilities. So, but that's not working. So let's see. Well, I guess the radius is always going to be the same. So what if we just negative this business? Which is, again, kind of what we're doing in the other examples. But again, I am not even slightly close to a math genius. I would say I'm a math piranha. Oh, hey, yes. That's doing what we want. We're just offsetting it in the wrong direction. Beautiful. Cool. So now in our constructor, right here. Actually, we can get rid of these console logs because we don't need those anymore. I already got rid of that one apparently. Cool. Anyways, let's go up to our bolt piston and we'll set the origin to instead of, or, oh, sorry, not bolt pistol, bullets. Where are we setting the bullets? Or our, oh, right, sorry, we're not doing that anymore. My bad, we're doy-to-doy. Don't mind me, I'm just having a moment. We're now using this radius. So I mean, I suppose just make it like negative 125, right? Makes sense. Let's try this. Yes, very close to what we want. Beauty. We just need to make it a little less, or more since we're negative now. And it should be right at the tip of his gun. Let's try 100. We were 125, negative 125, now we're negative 100. Ooh, that's so close. Cool, man. That's beautiful. I like to see this. Also, I'm gonna change that, get rid of that, what's it called? Blend mode add. We don't need that. That's just turning our bullets to be completely white, which is not exactly what we want. Or not what I want, anyways. Anyways, so let's make it even a little less than that, like negative 90. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, very close again. It's a little lower than the gun should be, but it's whatever. We can fix that too in a minute here. That, like, the way the bullets kind of grow is almost like misleading though, because again, the center of the bullet currently has to come into contact with our sprite to actually register a collision, but, or an overlap, whatever. Collisions and overlaps are different in phaser land. I guess they're different in real life too. And, oh, that's so close. That is so buttery. It all, that almost looks like it's working. Oh, except, again, we've got the offsets a little off, but we'll fix up the offsets after that, the rotational offsets. But we just want the positioning to be, that's almost perfect actually. So like, I don't know, let's just, yeah, let's like make it like, I don't know, 75. Just make it a little bit more inside the gun when it shoots. And it's hard to tell when he's falling, but let's see. There we go. Oh, that's almost too much. That's, you know what? Let's just make it like 78, call it a day, and I think this is going to be good. Boom. Shrink our guy while we're falling together. Take that, robot. You know what? I'm sorry I'm being so pedantic, but that's, you know, that's just negative 80 it is, and I'm not going to touch it anymore. So, yeah, next we need to tweak our offsets a little bit. So we have an, like, I know this is a little bit of a weird way of doing it, but I've got an offset for the right side and the left side for both the arms and the bolt pistol. Yeah, it's a weird way of doing it, but, oh god, I don't remember the math for this at all, but we'll just fiddle with numbers until stuff happens. So, okay, math.pi over 2.4. Decimals and fractions all in one place. Grand. Let's just say like, oh wait, bolt pistol offset, right? Oh, hold on, this is the, oh, that's, oh right, left and right side, sorry, oh, my bad, I was misreading my own variables. Let's see, so let's just try to change that to 2 and see what happens, because that does the right side, so this should adjust it when he's facing right. Won't make any difference to the left side. Let's just confirm that. I think that's accurate. And that looks to be further away from the gun now. So we actually want more, a higher number. So let's say like 2.9. It's all about that fiddle work. Take this. I didn't even hit him. Did that even... Oh, hold up. Is that... Do we have it reversed? I think I have it on the wrong sides. Oh. No, but I'm not. Okay, so for starters, arm right is being offset by the left offset, not the right offset, so that's wrong. And the bolt pistol is just being offset by the... Oh, sorry, wait, no. Ah, shoot. This all depends on which side... Okay, so when we abstracted this functionality into its own aim function, we forgot to take into account the position of the pointer, which is actually important because that is how we figure out, or what side the guy's facing. Or I guess we can figure it out from in here. We can just check the X scale, and if it's negative or positive, it would almost just make sense to assign this to a Boolean, but because we're extending container, it might be kind of tricky because there's not one specific sprite or image object that we should be locking onto as like the main one or whatever to detect which way it's flipped. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say this dot flip x equals flip, and we'll default flip x to false, which should be what it defaults to, I think. So we'll say, where we're defining all our stuff right here, we'll say this dot flip x equals false. Okay, now we have a variable containing true or false whether or not he's flipped. So we can tap into that in our aim function, and we'll say, yeah, so we need to offset the rotations by whether or not he's flipped. So I'm just going to do if this dot flip x and else. So if he's flipped, so if he's facing left, else if he's facing right. So if he's facing left, all of these are going to apply. I'm probably going to need to have like a offset for the left and right side of... this is all getting to be a little messy. I'm going to have to clean this up at some point. This is getting out of hand, but for now, it shall do. It shall do just fine. So if it's on the right side, we want the right offsets. It is confusing though, because it like makes you think, oh, is it his right and left arm, or like right and, no, it's the right and left direction he's facing. Yeah, and again, we're probably going to have to adjust the emitter offset as well. But, oop, okay. Apparently we already are. Oh, wow. Now he's sort of, that's funny. If you can look closely here, full screen it or whatever. Oh, you're taking off. Good night, JL. Thanks for tuning in, man. I much appreciate it, and much appreciate all the chat, as always. Hope to see you around next time or some other time in the future. Yeah, have a good night, man. Good sleep. But anyways, as you can see now, it's a little funny. He's like holding the gun by the, like, I don't know, whatever you call that on a gun, the top corner of it. I don't know. I don't know gun terms. I'm not a Call of Duty fan. Anyways, and also the bullets are clearly shooting from above it, which is not quite right. It's almost perfect on this side, actually. So the left side is good. We just need to mess with the right offsets, which is actually the ones we were already messing with. So this is probably too much, so let's say 2.5. To what were they originally? I'm gonna run a diff on this file to just check what they were originally, unless it'll tell me in my editor. Oh, it does tell me. Cool. Nice. Okay, right on. Just keep the server running then. Run start. Okay, and it's probably going to take me into Chrome any second now, but whatever. We'll deal with that when it comes. Minus, so divided by 2.4 is what we had before. Oops, and get out of here. And, okay, wow, why is all this? This is like code within code. This is all codeception. God damn. Oh man, what am I messing with now? I'm just gonna close that and hope that it doesn't destroy anything. It's also way up here now? I don't know. I never know what I'm doing, you guys. I am just 100% flying by the seat of my pants at all times, and that's just how I live my life. So, you know, yeah, about that life. Okay, so let's see. What do we want? We're looking for our offsets, which are up here. Yeah, so 2.4, and maybe that was the only one I messed with. Let's see. Oh, it would be, wouldn't it? Because the right side is the one that's all jank. So, oh yeah, cool. So the gun is already back in place, which is good. But we're gonna need basically we're gonna need a bullet offset as well. So we'll say const bullet emitter offset right equals, we'll just keep it the same as the arm for now, or the bolt pistol rather, divided by 2.4, and const bullet emitter offset left equals math.pi divided by, what was the bolt pistol? 8.5, 1.85. So that was actually working. The left side was pretty much good already. The right side is the one we're going to have to tweak a little bit, but we will do that in just a second. Oh yeah, so we've already got this. So I guess now we're actually starting with a we need both a degree and a radian offset, but we were starting with a degree offset. Now we're starting with a radian offset. Again, just type juggling, all that fun stuff, but type juggling math edition instead of code edition, but math in code, so I guess it's still kind of code. Life's a mystery. Anyways, let's see. So we'll start with, let's go with const, or actually no, it can just be emitter degree offset, but we'll start it at this dot. Bullet emitter offs. Oh, but we need to know based on the size. Okay, so it's actually not going to go in there. It's going to go in here, and we're going to convert it to degrees on the fly in the function. We'll say emitter degree offset equals blah blah, not blah blah blah. We'll say this dot bullet emitter offset, and since we're bullet emitter offset, and since we're facing left in this case, we'll want the left, but we want to times that by 180 divided by math.pi, which should give us that number only in degrees instead of radians. And we're going to do the same thing in this in our else statement, only instead of the offset left, we're going to be going from the offset right. Okay, let's see. This is, if this all worked, this is probably going to look the exact same as it was before, but now when we fiddle with these numbers, okay, no, so it's blowing up. So what's going on? Emitter degree offset is not defined. And that's in our aim function. And that's because, yeah, okay, so because we're defining it, so we just have to basically do mutable code and just say emitter, let emitter degree offset equals 0, and we'll just reassign it here, reassign it there, and that'll be fine for now. That should solve that error. Ooh, what's going on? Okay. Oh, but now we're not shooting anything. So what's going on? We aren't shooting anything now. What is the problem? So somewhere in our calculation something's not right. There's no errors, so it's not a syntax error. It must be a logical error, which are just the much more fun ones to solve if you're into debugging, which I can be when I have ideas, but when I start running out of ideas, that's when the real debugging comes in, and like I need to work on those skills a little bit. Anyways, let's see here. So getting our offset right, which is in radians, which we're defining down here. Oh, no. You know what? That's because we're not even passing them into the actual class. Those were just local variables. We have to pass them along. So where we're doing the bolt pistol, we'll do the same. We will do the same, but it will be bullet emitter, and replace bullet emitter here, bullet emitter, and same deal here, and one more. Now, bullet emitter. Cool. Now, it's probably just because it was calculating by undefined or... Yep. Okay. Whoa! Okay, so we are... Whoa. Oh, that's funny. So we're going to have to really fiddle with these offsets. And... Yeah, okay, so the offsets are kind of jank, and... I guess... Yeah, so this must just... Is this a problem of the offsets, or is this a problem of the radius now? Because... Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's see. Let's dig deeper. Let's try changing that to 80 instead of negative 80, because it seemed to be coming... It seemed to be on the wrong... Yeah, okay, so putting it to 80 is pretty close to perfect on the left side. We'll have to, again, tweak the rotational offset a little bit, but that offset is fine. But this... is not. What's going on there? I think, yeah, I don't think the radius is going to have to change. I think it all comes down to those rotational offsets. So, yeah, because we're using those to set the angle, but we're also using those to set the position around our little unit circle of an arm. Okay, so we might actually need to separate that. Yeah, you know what? I thought I was being clever with that whole... Or no, I was being clever. Oh, yeah, okay, so... Okay, so yeah, we do just need... Oh. Yeah, I think we just need to fiddle with these offsets, so let's do that. Okay, so let's start with the right side. So the right side, I would say we need to... That almost looks like a full, what, math? Like, math.pi equates to 90 degrees, I think, so just like remove math.pi, or like... Okay, so bullet emitter offset, we're facing right, so right, let's say divided by... Let's just say divided by 1, so it's just math.pi. I know we don't need the divided by 1, but whatever. Now it's coming out is... Okay, so new. Funny, right? So let's say divided by like 4, and try going away the other way and see if it makes a dramatic difference the other way. It doesn't, really. It kind of... Actually it does. It seems like we're pointing... The space between where we're pointing and where the bullets are coming from is greater, so let's try like just 2, which is pretty close to what we had before, but I don't know. Oh, hey, whoa, that's close. Whoa, that's very close. Okay, cool. It's all just the, I guess those numbers have quite a high weight, or whatever you want to call it. So let's try 1.85, just like we've got it on the other side. See what that looks like. Whoa, what? That is dramatically different for a very small change in number. Huh. This is what I'm saying when I talk about how I clearly don't understand math at all. Let's try 2.05, I don't know. Okay, so that looks like it's a little further away from what we wanted. So that's why would one... Oh! Maybe because we're dividing? Again, I don't know. Times 1.95? I don't know. Really just flying by the seat of my pants as usual here. Whoa! It's kind of shooting down. It's like, that's funny. Not what we want, but... Yeah, but that's funny that it's changing both the rotation... Okay, we must have this plugged into two places where we should only really have it plugged into one. I feel like that's what's partly going on. I'm going to change that back to 2 because that was pretty close to what we were going for. On the right side, at least. Whoa, 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 whoa. Now it's drastically different. What? That's funny. That, to me, was suddenly inconsistent. Yeah, that's really whack. Oh dear. Inconsistent bugs are the devil of all bugs. Oh, hey, Code Crafting. Shout out for the follow. Sorry, buddy, I just saw that. Thanks very much. I don't know if that was recently or a little while ago, but thank you very much. Alright, so let's see. Bullet emitter offset, right. Okay, let's address the issue that we're plugging this into two places where it should just be plugged into one place, I think. I'm sure that's an issue. So, because we're using, okay, we're setting the emitter degree offset based on this, blah, blah. Whereas, okay, yeah, so what was that number again? That was, let's see. Well, emitter degree offset, it was just a constant. 82? Yeah, 82. Okay, so let's set this back to just straight up 82. Const that instead of let. And we're back to the wonderful land of immutability. Comment those out. Just see what this gives us. Okay, so again, that gives us bullets which are pretty close to the damn gun, but still, part of me still thinks it should just be one variable that controls both of the, like, both the angle that we're setting the bullet emitter to, which is the actual rotational angle of the bullet emitter, and our calculation to figure out the X and Y position of the bullet emitter around our circle, which is how we get it to the tip of the gun. I'm proud that we actually did the more mathematical way of doing that, but of course it becomes a little bit trickier to debug for obvious reasons. Namely, I'm bad at math. Okay, I don't even know what I'm looking at now. Okay, so shoulder X and Y, and then we're offsetting that by, yeah, our circular X and Y, which we're calculating based off of the radians and the radian offset. The radian offset is our emitter degree offset, which is, that's where I'm thinking we're using the same, right, yes, okay, I think I know what's, I possibly have a plan now. So this shoulder X and Y can be, we can move those to the top because those are constant no matter which way he's facing. His shoulder X and Y, I was going to say don't change, but actually they do. But actually we should be accounting for that with the bolt pistol X and Y, so I think we're good there. Now the radian offset is what we're going to be changing up on the fly. Yeah, so let's do this. Move our radian offset up here, and now we're going to do that wonderful mutability, which is to say, being kind of sarcastic, because really what you want is immutability, generally speaking, because it's easier to debug and leads to less logical errors, and I don't know, I'm sure there's more reasons, but those are the ones I know. Anyways, and by immutability I just mean that, like, your variables can't be changed. You set them once, and then throughout all of your code they don't get updated. It's kind of like, I think it's a thing that's part of functional programming as well as just, I don't know, a good practice now. Like, I learned about it from React and like Redux, which I know are different than game development, but I think, you know, programming concepts are portable. That's very cold coffee. So anyways, let's go, what are we, whoopsies, rad offset. Rad offset, we'll start it just to 0, and then we'll say, we'll update it here. We'll say rad offset is that, and rad offset is that, but actually what we're going to be doing is we're not even going to be using this calculation at all. We're chucking this out completely, and we're just going to be assigning it to bullet emitter offset left and bullet emitter offset right. So I mean, you know what, we could, okay, whatever. I'm getting a little too hooked on making it immutable, but we can make it immutable in just a moment here. Okay, let's see if this works. Whoa. Oh man, that's giving us those weird, like, oh man, this is messed up. That's so close, and yet so quite also not. Although, because, actually, okay, sorry, this is closer now, I think, because you can see, even though they're offset around the circle of his, that his arm makes, this circle, this whatever, like him doing that exercise, that circle that his arm makes, like the tip of his gun rather, makes this circle that he draw, if you were to draw a circle with his gun, they are offset weirdly around that circle, but you can notice that the angle that the bullets are actually shooting in is correct. So, in theory, we are making progress. Alright. So now, in theory, I've said this before, but in theory, now it's just a matter of messing with these offsets, and we should be able to come up with a, I almost want to call these like positional offset right, but that's like a huge variable name, so let's just keep it simple for now. So is right the one that's drastically, yes, well, I think they're both drastically off, yeah, but right is like almost 90 degrees off, so yeah, I don't know, just change it to times 2.5 and see what happens. That's too much, that's going too far, so what if we divide by 2 instead of timesing by 2 like we were doing originally? Oh, no, that's almost the same effect, actually. Funny. Again, don't understand math, don't know what I'm doing. Full disclosure. Oops, that's the left side, we're still messing with the right side, so change it to 3, I don't know, see what happens. No, that's too much. 1.85, just the exact same as left, see what that does. It's like a kinda calculated guessing game, although it seems to be doing very big jumps with very small changes, so yeah, I wish I knew what that was about, but 2.25, let's try that. That's what it maybe was originally? No, okay. Or, oh hey, you know what? Hey, that's good. Now I think we have the offsets close, but I think we just have the radius backwards, so that shouldn't be negative. That should just be positive 80. Here we go. Boom! We've got a gun that shoots out the tip pretty close, almost. Yes! Awesome. Alrighty. Sweet deal. And that actually, to me, is basically perfect on the right side. It's a little down on the left, so we want that to be... Yeah, it's not... The whole thing is actually kind of whack, so we could do with adjusting all of those offsets, but I'm just going to keep it simple for now and try and just get the bullets to come out of the gun, not worry too much about the angle being all wacky, because it's close. So anyways, let's do that. Let's now adjust the offset left to be more like, let's just try putting it at 2.25 and see what happens, see if it's the same. Because if it's like the same, then like we don't even actually need to split it into two variables, but no, it's not, it's different. So yes, we do need to split it into two variables. Yeah, so let's see here. Let's try like 2, or even like 1.95 instead of 8.5. Ooh, that's touching the gun. Oh, that's pretty close. That rotational, because it's perfect on this side, but on this side, that rotational offset is bothering me. It's almost like we've just got the gun. No, the gun's actually pointing pretty true. What if we just lower it again to like, I'm not actually going to do this because this will be below the gun. I just want to see if it lines up and cool. Yeah, so that's still not. It's still like it's rotated on the, okay, so I think we need to mess around with this emitter degree offset as well as the, so we need to mess around with the angle of the offset as well as the X and Y position around the circle offset, if that makes any sense at all. So for starters, let's just make this, yoink, we're gonna copy that. We're gonna make that 0. And when it's flipped to the left side, which is the side that's currently not quite working, it's going to do something. When it's flipped to the right side, it's going to do what's working, which is 82 degrees. Let's, I don't know, lower this to 75 degrees? See what that looks like. See if that goes in the right direction. Oh, no, that's more. That's the wrong way. So we want 90. Let's try 90. So that's still good. And this, is good. Real close to good. Just a little bit more. So like 92, let's say. It's funny, that's like a full 10 degrees of inaccuracy between the left and right side, but hey, if it works, it works. And actually, it's still not quite enough either, is it? Although we could move that down. We can move the starting position of the bullets down around the circle a little bit more because it's quite centered on the right side, and on the left side, if you look closely, it's still leaning a little more towards the top. So let's do that before we mess with the rotation anymore. I know this is all rotational, so anytime I say rotation, it like could mean like 1,000 things, but this is the kind of thing that I look at and it makes sense right now, and then a day later, I'm gonna look at this and just be like, what? That's just how coding works, I feel like. Let's try 1.9 instead of 1.95. Oop, what's that? When we land, oh yeah, that's pretty centered. That's almost too centered, because, yeah, okay, so let's move that like 1.92 out of just a tiny tad back up. I think that's gonna be pretty good. That's, okay, one more, whatever, decimal. At this point, I have no idea what even units, I don't know what anything is anymore. I'm just at a loss. But point is, it is pretty much working. It's still, the aim is not like totally there, but like it's pretty close. You can see, like, when I say the aim's not totally there, you can see if we aim on this side, if you look at the cursor, the projectiles are sort of expanding such that the cursor is almost right in the middle of, like, it's hard to see it, but anyways, yeah, the cursor is almost in the middle of the stream of projectiles, whereas on this side, the cursor is closer to the bottom of the stream of projectiles. So that's what I mean when I say it's a little bit inaccurate, but like, you know, for our MVP version, what's a little bit of an accuracy gonna do? Can shrink blowtorch this mother straight to hell. Bam. Yeah, that is something. It is very hard to hit once it's small though, because again, it's a perfect X and Y collision that we're looking for. So it's the very center of the projectile that has to hit it, not the whole bounding box of the projectile. Yeah, anyways, okay, so I can shrink him down to a little ant, but we can't quite squash him yet. So anyways, yeah, now that we've got that working, that took a little bit longer than I was expecting. It is midnight now, but like I said, I've been a little sloppy on the last couple streams I've done, and I'm feeling good tonight, so I think tonight we can push it past midnight a little bit, my time. You can see up on my clock here, 'tis midnight, apparently. But anyways, yeah, so let's keep it going. Next on our list of to-dos. Actually, we did a lot of like random things today. I was hoping to sort of encapsulate it all within an issue and a pull request, but yeah, we're bouncing around between a few different things now. We're getting a little out of hand, so we might have to, I don't know, it might not project managementally organize exactly how I was hoping it would, but whatever. Point is, it's cool. We're making strides, that's for damn sure. I think it would be wise for us to port these over to the mobile controls as well as the desktop controls, just so we don't have to do that again later when it all... Oh, that's something we should do as well, is make the layering here work, because right now you can see the bullets go behind the layer here, and actually he's tiny now, but so does the robot. He goes behind the layer. You can just see his bounding box. See if we can get him to go back in there naturally, or he's probably going to not cooperate. Now he's going to go right, but now he's left. Let's see. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to wait around for a randomized robot to get himself stuck in a cave. Okay, yes I am. There he is. You can see he's behind the layer of the cave, so that's yet another thing we have to fix. But the point is, we've got the shooting working pretty nicely now. And that effect where the projectile starts small and grows big, gives it kind of like a cool flamethrower-y electric cloud sort of effect as it expands out. I wonder if we can mess with the opacity as well of our projectile emitter. I just jump off on a little tangent and try and do that really quick, if you will. Bear with me, because it'd be very cool to have those projectiles fade out instead of just expand big and then disappear. Still looks cool, but let's just look that up real quick. So phaser 3, fade, fade particle alpha. I mean, okay. This is a version 2 example, but it might very well be similar. In the create, no, this is different. They have a different particle system for sure, by the look of that. Phaser 3 tween opacity, particle, I don't know. Let's see. Just getting dings on my phone. Sorry about that. Let's see. You know what? I'll deal with that later. This is the important thing. So we're looking for the details on that. So emitter config. Here we go. Particle emitter config. Does it tell us all the properties? Yes. This is what we want. All right. Death callback. We were using that. Death callback scope. That's nice that you can set that. Although it wasn't a problem for us. Particle bring to top. That's interesting. So that must change the ordering of them, but no. Time scale. That's cool. We might be able to do like a slow motion, fast motion thing later on. Alpha. Yeah. So what? Can you pass in emitter on update callback? What? You pass in a callback or a number. What is an emitter on update callback? That, oh, same as angle. Okay, so what's angle doing? Oh, angle's doing nothing. That's just, okay. What's, we're using that anywhere? Speed, we're doing something funny. We're passing in an object there. Is that what it's talking about? Yeah, emitter op on emit callback. Oh, emitter, hold on, sorry. Gotta read this right. On emitter op on emit callback. Emitter op on emit callback. Emitter op on emit callback. Emitter op on update callback. So it's a little different. It's on update instead of on emit, but just see what it looks for. The particle. Oh, it is a callback then. Hey, it's a function. That's weird. The normalized lifetime of the particle starts between 0 and 1. That's sick. Okay, so I guess, yeah, we just pass it a function. Okay, so sure. Alpha. So fat arrow function, what does it give us? It gives us the particle, the string, the number, the t is what we're looking for. So I guess we'll say particle, key, and t. So t is the one we're actually interested in, but I'm assuming we need to put them in order. So let's try this here, and then we'll say, so, or I guess we do need access to the particle as well. So particle.set alpha to 1 minus t, because t starts at 0 and then moves to 1 over the lifetime of the particle, as it says here. Apparently that's what it does. But starts at 0, ends at 1, and so to set the alpha, we want the alpha to start at 1, which would be full and totally opaque, and slowly fade out, which would be like, that's, so that would be 1 minus the 0 point whatever. I think it'll work. I think it'll work. I'll do my best to explain it better if it does, but actually it exploded. So let's see. Particle.set alpha is not a function. Okay, well let's just see what we're even dealing with this alpha, or with this particle object. Woo. Is it still? Okay, no. So that was all just for that first particle that shoots out automatically, and it's gonna update like crazy when we. Oh, but our particles are looking to be. Whoa, that updates a lot, but. Point is, our particles seem to be invisible, so possibly something's working. Oh, maybe we have to return returns. Yeah, returns the new value of the property. Doi da doi. Okay, so yeah, so we don't actually need to set the alpha here. We just need to return 1 minus t. Now, in theory, this will work. Hopefully. I said that a million times, but oh, look at that! I saw a little puff that faded out. Oh yeah, and they fade out now. Beautiful. Oh, I'm very, very pleased with that. So this gun was never meant to be like a little flamethrower pistol. However, I think that's what it's going to be now. A flamethrower, electric, shrink ray, whatever the hell. And then eventually once it gets to a certain tiny size and you hit it one more time, it'll play its death animation. Because we do need to genericize all of the baddie logic into a extendable class of its own. We can't just keep making sprites of them and adding all the logic everywhere willy-nilly. We need it to be modular. But still, that looks cool. I'm happy with that. Oh, sorry, people in the chat. X-Killer Knight, thanks, man. Good job. Put a propane tank on his back, lol. Yeah, dude, totally. That actually would be rad. And then it would just straight up be like a flamethrower. I see, part of me wants it to be like kind of like this. So I couldn't get this to work for some reason, and maybe we can delve into this a little bit, but I'll show you the sprite I made for that gun. I made it is just way too big, but I'll show you what we got going on for images, sprites, bolt, pistol 1, I guess. Packed, yes. So this is what our bolt pistol sprite actually looks like, each frame of it. It's not currently animating because I just couldn't get it to work for some reason. I was having all kinds of trouble with like the multi-atlas sprites throwing weird errors and stuff, but the point is it's supposed to be kind of like an electrical gun that has this just like raw little bolt of electricity zapping from one lead to another, and that's like the animation that it should be doing would be something like this. Or, you know what, better yet, I can probably demonstrate it like this. Yeah, there you go. Something like that is what it would be doing. And that's why I want it to be kind of like this electric gun, even though it does sort of look like fire at this point. We can always tweak all this stuff around, so let's just... I'm going to keep that commented out because it is super cool, but let's like start it at 0.2 and end it at 0.2 and just see what that looks like, for example, and keep that, or hang on, copy paste that, and then make the min and max the same, and then it'll be just like kind of a beam of shot, yeah, like that. And it fades out still, which is sweet, but yeah, now it's kind of like just like a regular old beam. Much less exciting, but just to illustrate how easy it is for us to like manipulate how these particles behave and like how they can be used as different guns, or different ammunition rather for guns. So that's just kind of like a beam of shots, and we can change that up just as easy as commenting and uncommenting these lines, and then save that. Yep. And now we're back to like our kind of growing flamethrower-y type effect, although it's blue and sort of yeah, we're in debate about whether it should be, well, not really debate, we're just chatting about what it should be. But anyways, yeah, I do like the shrink ray effect. I think that's cool. Boom. And then like he'll hit a certain point and just explode when you shrink him too far. Just compress him. Compression explosion like a diesel engine. Exciting. So proud that I know how those work. I have a friend who's my best friend actually. One of my 2, 3, however many best friends is a heavy-duty diesel mechanic. We've been friends since I was 3 years old, if you can believe that. Me and two guys. We all went to daycare together before preschool. Anyways, that's neither here nor there, but the point is, we have guns and we have shrinky things and all kinds of witchcraft happening. So I say we keep this effect just because this looks freaking dope. Ooh, that lag again. What just changed? I should keep my system monitor open so I can see like what's going on when it lags really hard. I feel like something else is at play. Also getting notifications on my phone. Oh, yo, Code Therapy. Yeah, Code Therapy. Shout out for the follow, man. Lady, person, whoever. Thank you very much. I appreciate that hugely. Each follow is just like massive for me right now. At any stage, I think it's going to be massive for me, but especially right now when I'm starting out, it means the world, guys. So yeah, if you enjoy what you're seeing, please do follow and tune into future ones. It means a lot, guys. Also, just the fact that there's 7 of you viewing right now is totally baller to me. That's like huge. Anyways, just reset all this and see what we want to do next, because I'm going to keep this rolling for another hour or so just because I want to make up for a lot bad my kind of poor streams over the last week or so. Ooh, bam. Plus I'm having too much fun to stop right now, man. Okay, so shrink them down. Yeah, so why don't we get the bullets just working inside the cave, because right now the layering is all messed up, and so is the layering for, we can fix hit two birds with one stone and get it so that the particles show up in front of the back of the cave, same as our main character sprite, like how he does now. So yeah, that's our next target. Although, you know what, let's get this online first so that we can, like, particle collision detection, this has been done for a while, so we can commit all this and make a new issue for what we're gonna do next. Oopsie daisies. Let's take a look at our diffs. Okay, baddie one. So we are gonna, yeah, we've got a few things we want to do, but I don't know if we're gonna hit all of it in this stream, but I'm gonna get as much of it as I can, that's for sure. So cool. So by the way, you guys, the minute I push this to master, or not the minute, maybe within 5 minutes or so of this getting merged into master, you guys should all be able to, whoa, what's happening? We're at 11 people, damn. Anyways, once this code is merged into master, give it a couple minutes or so, and you guys should all be able to try this out on the live demo yourself on your own machines. And, you know, if you have any feedback at all, very, very helpful for me. But if not, no big deal. It's just going to be up there for you guys to play too. So I'm happy with that. I'm not seeing any bugs, and I did a quick scan over the diffs, and it looks good to me. So git add all, git status again, and make sure that's staged, which it is, and check what branch we're on first. I think we checked out a new one. Yes, we did. Okay, so now we'll go git commit -m number 28 adds shrink ray collision detection to or shrink ray, let's say shrink ray particle dash jump robo or jump bot collision detection. Cool, that looks good to me. Git push origin kirk dash 28 dash projectile collision detection. Boom, give that one. Oh, okay, give it a password. Oh, what the hell? There we go. Now give that a second and GitHub should catch up, or maybe I'll have to do a refresh. My phone's bleeping at me, but yeah, that's just Discord telling me that their new code got pushed. Not updating, so let's have a look here. Reload the page. Yeah, cool. Now there's our commit. And if we head over to the main page on the repository, it'll give us an option to compare and PR. I'm just gonna go looks ace. Ship it. Lol. High quality testing we're doing at this stage of our development cycle, as you can tell. Anyways, we've got a few automated tests that Netlify runs for us, which is what we're using as our deployment system, which I also... Actually, sorry, you know what? I never did the Netlify setup on a live stream. Maybe I should have done that. Perhaps that'll be another tutorial for me to write in the future, is how to set up deployments on Netlify. It's super easy. Like, it doesn't even need a tutorial. It's way easy. As long as you know your way around a Git repository, it's like easy as pie. Oh, cold coffee, great. All is well. Okay, merge PR, boom, shakalaka. Okay. Sorry guys. Just had a friend who was supposed to be coming over, but I don't know, he was just supposed to like let himself in and walk in. I told him he could, but he keeps texting me. Anyways. Cool, merged. So now we have the option to delete the branch, but I guess we can, doesn't really matter, but I'll just leave it for now, no big deal. Clean up the repo a little later. And 52 commits, we should see one in master, which is adds the shrink ray particle jump bot collision detection. Beautiful. So yeah, if you guys give that a minute or so, give it like 2 or 3 minutes. It might already be good, but just give it a couple minutes. Head over to, throw it in the, oh, you know, I've got the chat on my little dashboard thing here, so I can do that. Boom, look at that. 2 screens for the win. Anyways, head over to that link there and in the chat, and you will be able to test this game in production, and our new changes that I just finished here will be merged into there, and you guys should be able to play it. Oh, the joys of Git and Netlify, and auto deployment and all that awesome stuff. It's just what a world we live in. It's unreal. So, okay, let's see. All right, yeah, so let's just throw up a new issue now that we're going to work on next, and this will be our new focus. Oh, actually, we can close this one out because it is done. Boom. Closing comment. Bam, done. All right, cool. Done skis. New issue. We could. Oh, actually, the sky turned black bug kind of resolved itself, but I'll clean up the issues later. We don't need to do that on a live stream. What we do need to do is create a new issue, and we'll say projectile and enemy layering is messed up in the cave. Yep, enough said. Paint up. Cool. Bam, so now assign that to myself. Add a label, which is a bug. And throw it in our MVP project. And that is enough. Awaiting triage, okay. Via automation, blah, blah. Okay, cool. That's all the admin work we have to do. Now we can get back into the fun, the joys of coding. Let's just check out a new branch from master. Make sure we got to check out from master, not from the wrong branch. I'm so bad for doing that. Origin master, get the latest, start the pull request we just merged in. Now that's on our local machine. Now we can go git checkout -b, what's this number? 30. So Kirk -30 layering mess. Let's just call it that. All right, now npm run start and back to coding. Cool. Reload this page rather than, well, it's going to open a new tab anyways, but just wait for that. Okay, close that, get that, get it. Bam, cool, right on. Bam. Let's see here. So it all still works. We can still hit him and everything, and he shrinks. You can see the box getting smaller, but you just can't see any of the bullets, and you can't see any of the action because the layering is all dirt. It's all herped. Herp diddly derp. Now, okay, so to figure out this layering business, we're gonna have to have a reference to both our enemies array object. No, okay, not the array. We need a reference to. Man, it's almost like. Oh, you know what we can do? Oh, this is going to be easier than I thought. So our enemies object is being assigned to a variable within the class, which actually I think we can just access straight up in the class that's inheriting from it. And because after it happens in this init scene function, which runs all this and assigns enemies to its object or whatever variable, and yeah, if only I knew the technical terms for things would be stellar, but point is, we should in theory just be able to throw enemy in this container, just in the right positioning, and have it, so just in front of behind layer really. So we want it in front or behind the main character. I'll say, let's go with in front. Have the enemies show up in front of him. Enemies. There we go. Save that, see if we bug out. Yes, we do. Okay, darn. That was hopeful. And of course, it's an internal error, so it's something that is totally incomprehensible to our code. Well, not exactly, but just at at face value, it makes no sense to the code we're writing. So GameObject.once is not a function at container.addHandler. Can you not add containers to containers? Of course you can, because our MC... Whoa, what is happening? Oh, damn. Potential out of memory crash. Wow. So that's awesome. Extra RAM just saved our ass right there, because this bug right here, paused before potential out of memory crash, that has crashed the stream on numerous occasions in the past. So yeah, suddenly that $40 investment of like 4 more gigs of RAM is very worth it. Okay, anyways, even though I'm totally broke right now, lol. So enemies, oh right, but enemies isn't, oh, because enemies isn't a, shoot. Oh, this is funky. Enemies is a physics group, not a container. Here. Oh dear. Okay, so we can't add containers or groups to... Yeah, maybe we just have to add everything in the group, which is kind of a bummer. But... I mean, really, in theory, we could just add it in front of everything, so... Okay, here's a plan, here's a theory. Okay, so we need the add something, add whatever function to... Would it just be container.add? Let's find the container class. God, where would it be? Not... Yes, container class. Or it's almost making me wonder if this should be a container at all. Like, maybe we should be using a physics group for this as well as everything else. Because, how does the physics group work again? You just pass in an array, I think, don't you? Yeah, array of whatever in the empty config, because that was breaking, because that's like a bug with phaser. It's not true to the documentation, but that's okay. We'll get there. We'll figure it out. That looked really dorky with my ear sticking out. Oops. Okay. Alright. This dot. Okay. Enemies is our group. Yes, we've established that. So, okay. Apparently you can't add groups to containers. Let's do a real quick test here and see if you can add groups to groups. Let's just make one up and just see if it works. And if it works, then maybe it'll be worth porting or changing our logic up such that we're using a group in the level instead of using a container. Because I think containers are like groups, except you can add physics properties to the entire container as a whole, whereas groups are meant to like contain individual things with their own physics each. And there's not like a physics as a whole, if that makes sense. Oops, I got the chat scrolled out of view again. Whoopsie daisies. Oh, okay, it's fine. No, nothing new. So let's see. Okay, so this dot test group equal, not negative equals this dot physics dot add dot group, and we'll just drop in an array with this dot enemies in it. Now this is kind of the moment of truth where we're going to test if we can add an array of if we can add groups into groups. If we can add groups into groups, oh, hold on, we're still going to have our other error, aren't we? And I think we're paused in the debugger. Yeah, that's because we had our potential out of memory crash. Good Lord. What a disaster. Everything is breaking. So what was the error causing the out of memory crap? Right, and that's coming from, God, Africa camp level create, add container. Oh yeah, so that's because we're trying to add our group into our container and it's not liking that. So just actually comment that for now. That should give us a working thing when we resume it. And yeah, okay, reloading, done. And no exploding errors this time, that's good news. hey, actually, that's great news. So no errors. In theory, we've added a group into a group without issue. We are getting that little burst of lag there for a minute, which I still don't know what that's about. I would love to have my system monitor open to actually watch that, but just trying to do too many things at once. Too many things on a live stream. Shrink our guy with our shrink torch electric gun thing. Cloud of doom. It'd be so cool if we could like randomly adjust the rotation of those particles as well. I'm getting way too into like making this gun look awesome, but yeah, whatever. We don't need to do that right now. I don't even need to be shooting this little mouse robot down here. We need to be fixing this. How you shoot and the bullets go behind the cave wall, because that's just not gonna fly. That is a straight up bug. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It might just make more sense to use a physics group here instead of a container. So let's just try swapping it out and see if all hell breaks loose. Because we're not assigning it to a variable, so we're not doing anything with the container after we make it. Physics.add group. We don't have to pass in an XY coordinates, which I actually really like, but we do have to pass in an empty config, which I don't like, but what are you gonna do? You can't win them all. And plus, that could be something I could make a pull request for on Phaser and actually do some real like open source contributions, not just my own projects. That'd be sweet. I'd love to make some fix-it tweaks to the real Phaser project. That'd be dope. Now, anyways, sorry, I keep getting off track, but hey, yeah, so anyways, the point is it's working with a physics group just like it's working with a container, so heck yeah. I think we can use a container. And now let's just try uncommenting this, and because it's a physics group, not a container, it might all fall into place. Little puff, and we can shoot our guy or robot while we're falling, but anyways, boom. Okay, and shite. But oh, hold on. Everything is behind the cave now. Okay, hold on. What did I do? Behind layer, solid layer, above layer, warp portal. Oh, if only I remembered what we did with the map. Let's just open up our map in tiled, because I feel like we have the RAM for this now to like run all this stuff at the same time, and good lord, I really need to install this properly, but stop just opening it from my downloads directory. But okay, this is our new map that we were working on. Oh no, it's not, sorry, it's the old map. So okay, we've got portal layer, which is our object layer, which contains our portal right at the end of the map over here, which actually you can't see in the editor, but it's our little flaming a little portal that looks all cool. And then we've got our above MC, which is the grass, most of the grass. We should probably fix that, but oh yeah, this is behind MC. Yeah, that's the behind layer. So the cave is the behind layer, so shoot, why is that not working now? Oh, maybe it's flipped around in this, so like we have to go like that at the top, that next. Yeah, I think that's what the problem is. I think container and group just pass, like have everything come in different orders, or in opposite orders rather. So let's save that, and this might work now. Ooh, except now we've got a parse error. Hold on, what's going on? That's easy enough, we just missed a comma. Let's close out of tile just so we don't have 2800 bazillion things running all at once. Plus a game, you know, on a 8 gig RAM i5 machine that I bought for $300. I'm all about used computers now, I gotta say. I'm sold. Buying a computer used, super worth it. Like a big, awesome desktop tower, and damn, we're still we're on the wrong side of the thing. And this is on the right side of us, like that's layered correctly. What? Are we even changing anything then? What's happening here? Enemies. And this dot, let's just console log this dot enemies to confirm. Ooh. Confirm that it does exist and hold what we expect it to be holding, because we haven't done that. So enemies. See what if it's a physics group. Physics group it is, so that's what we expect. Maybe do we have to just pass in the, I don't know, the children? No, that can't be a thing. I'm sure we can just pass in the whole group, right? Like, unless maybe you don't define, what if we're not actually defining the layering here, and like physics groups don't care about this and just order everything? But nah, that wouldn't really make sense. It's got to order it some way, and it probably would just order it like a queue or a, I don't know, stack or something. Wait, if it was a stack, would that be the same either way? Does it go? This would go on first, that second, that third, or no, that would be. Sorry, this would go on first, that second, versus. Yeah, no, it should be. Nah, that doesn't make sense. I'm out to lunch here. You know what, guys? I'm thinking. As fun as this has been, I think we might have to call this one for tonight. I'm kind of running short on ideas as to why this layering's not working, even though we are using a physics group, physics group now as opposed to a container. Oh, hold on, we're adding, maybe we should get rid of that test thing first. That might help us, I don't know. Shrink ray him. Ooh, and there's that lag again, funny. And it goes away real quick, it's just a little burst of lag. And nope. We are still well and truly behind the cave. And it's funny how, like, the MC is now behind the cave as well, although all the other layering stuff was working fine. Although, actually, to be fair, everything is in front. Let's just confirm that the robot's in front of us as well. Oh, shit. Damn it, I swore on the live stream. I'm trying not to swear. Oh, funny, okay, so the robot is actually behind us. Okay, that might be a clue. Let's just drastically change things. Let's go like throw the MC up right at the top and see what happens. Just see if we're in front of everything, because I'm hoping for something here. Yeah, see, look at that. We put the MC at the top of the array, and yet he's still behind everything. Is he behind this guy now? No, he's still in front of him. So, yeah, I really don't understand the layering within physics groups at all, to be candid. To be perfectly candid. Yeah, so I think this is a topic that's going to require a little bit more research on my part, and I'll come back to you with some solutions tomorrow. But I'm very happy with what we accomplished in that live stream, in tonight's live stream. We got shooting controls working way better with the bullets coming out of the tip of his gun as opposed to sort of like out his shoulder, through his arm, and that crap that I was doing before. We made the projectiles of the bullet, the particles, do a bunch of stuff. We made them look really cool, for one thing, how they grow and sort of fade out. It's looking like kind of like a flamethrower-ish effect. And we made it so that when you hit the robot, it actually has collision detection with the particles. And I'll show you in just a second here. Our gun is kind of like a shrink ray. It shrinks the robo. Although, of course, now he's jumped in the cave. Well, I can still show you. So if I hit him, you'll see his square is getting smaller. This is a crappy demonstration, though, because if we can't see anything, let's just try and get him so that he jumps outside of our cave instead of inside. And what do you know? Yeah, there you go, outside. Cool. So, boom, let's burn him. And look at that. You hit him with the flamethrower thing, and he gets smaller and smaller. Neato, hey? Anyways, with that, I'm thinking we're gonna call it there tonight. We do need to port these controls over to these updates for the particle system over to the mobile controls as well. So I'm thinking that can be something we do tomorrow. I mean, it is still like 20 minutes until 1 a.m. I was kind of hoping to wrap this one up at 1 a.m. now as a revised timeline, but yeah, you know what? Why don't we just do it? Let's really quickly try and port these over to mobile. So first thing we're going to need for that is we don't actually need that at all anymore. What we do need is we need, let's see here, Chrome inspect for our handy mobile development tools. And let's see here, I'll just, let's see, just get some stuff working on my phone, and just in a moment you'll be able to see what's on my phone. Yeah, so okay, just need to open up Chromium, except not really Chromium, just Chrome. Oh, and one more thing, I've got to set the charging option to use USB for file transfer. That was the secret sauce that made this work, and when it wasn't working before, which is sweet. And alrighty, there's my Pixel 2, which is my phone, and we can open up localhost port 8080 thanks to the wonders of port forwarding. And even more wonderfully for you guys, we can open up a simulation of my screen. It's a little laggy. It's kind of, I wish it could be a little better, but it's very smooth on my phone, but it isn't. It's a little choppy for you guys, I'm afraid. I'm sorry about that. Just, we're gonna have to deal with it like as is for now, but let's just, oh. Or there's nothing to port and it already works. That's not every day that happens. But yeah, we're getting the fade effect. We're getting... Huh, that's interesting. We've got... Yeah, wow. Wow. Neato. I mean, okay. I was expecting to have to do some coding there, but it looks like it's actually just working out of box. And just confirm that all the collision detection is working too. I think it is, but I'll just reload this here real quick. And yeah, those particles work fine. You should keep it like this. Nice, man. Oh, and sorry. Oh, dude. Whoa, sorry. I missed a bunch of chats. Killer Knight, yo. Can you file your layers with numbers? I wish. I don't think that's something that exists in Phaser 3 at the moment. Perhaps that's a feature I could look at adding to Phaser 3 with a pull request and see if they merge it in. I don't know, because Phaser 3 is also an open source project. Yep, okay, cool. Shrinking still works, so beautiful. All right, look at that. Particle effects work on the phone. Neato. Well, with that, let's... Thank you all very much for joining the stream. It means the world to me that so many of you guys turned out and got involved and tuned in. Thank you particularly to Killer Knight for all the engagement, to JL for the engagement, and yeah, those were the guys who engaged the most tonight. And you know, in future streams, anybody feel free to chime in and give your 2 cents about the bug we're working on or whatever it might be. Yeah, so tonight's stream was, I think, highly successful. And I thank you all for joining and look forward to seeing you next time, aka tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. PST. You can check out this full stream on YouTube, and I'll upload it there as soon as my computer downloads it, basically. And yeah, you can see all the past streams there. And soon, pretty soon, I'll have my very first article on Medium, which you guys can check out. It's going to be a tutorial on how to set up the game development environment, which I am using for these streams. So yeah, thanks very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.